weird. Yes, you did. Made it weird.
What's happening, weirdos? This is Zach Braff. This is the third time Zach Braff, the incredible, the incomparable, the talented, the wonderful Zach Braff, whose new movie, A Good Person, is available on demand, and you should absolutely check that out. We talk about that a little bit, but not so much that it would spoil it or ruin it, and you will love it. Check out A Good Person on demand right now. Do it. Not right now. Listen to this right now. And then tonight with popped corn, American popped corn. But this is the first time that Zach has been on in person, and it made a huge difference. We totally bro out. We became besties in real time. And I'm so glad that you guys get to hear that and enjoy that. I loved this conversation. I'm so glad you're here. Only a couple things to plug up top. I'm on the road. Go to PeteHolmes.com if you want to come see me do stand-up. New York City is coming up, or actually that just came up. By the time this is out, that just happened, so you missed that. But they're new dates. Denver, not San Francisco, St. Louis. There's lots of stuff coming up. Go to PeteHolmes.com, all sorts of cities. And then after this tour, after the Where Were We tour, I'm going to start a new tour called the Is This Anything tour, which is going to be my new material tour, which I'll be working stuff out. That's going to be super fun too. So all of those dates will be on PeteHolmes.com. I'm also at Largo in Los Angeles once a month. Go to largo-la.com for that if you're going to be in LA. The next one is August 5th. Always incredible. One musical guest and several wonderful comedians. The last one was awesome. Zach was at one. We talk about that. Zach was recently at one, and I think that's how we opened the episode. Also, if you want to support the show, it means so much. Try a product. Try a Pete's Pick. We do ads a little bit differently. We do ads for things that I actually use and actually adore, like the Perfect Jean. As you guys know, I love Perfect Jeans. I was hanging out with my friend Katie Lowe's, and she was like, "Oh, are those your comfort jeans?" She called them my comfort jeans, which I thought were funny. The Perfect Jean. And yes, they were, because they're the only pants I wear. They look incredible. They feel incredible. They're soft as a baby's bottom. They got 2% spandex, 2.5% rayon for extra comfort and movement that your man parts require, but they look like incredible designer jeans with very, very wonderful craftsmanship. I never have to replace them. They stay together. They're well built. They fit fantastic. They come in all different cuts and colors and styles. They even have a khaki color, which is my new favorite, but it's made from the same spare your nuts material. They stretch. They're so comfy you could sleep in them, but they look so good. I've literally worn them to movie premieres. It doesn't matter. They look fantastic. No one needs to know your comfy little secret. So check them out, guys. It's a great way to support the show and to support your lower limbs. The Perfect Jean for the perfectly imperfect men. 20% off when you use code WEIRDO at checkout. Weirdo, not weird, weirdo. So liberate your lower limbs with the one and only Perfect Jean. Go to www.theperfectjean.nyc. That's theperfectjean, JEAN.NYC, and use code WEIRDO for 20% off at checkout. You'll be glad you did. Literally the only pants that I wear. Also, speaking of game changers, I gave some to Zach, I believe, on air. Modern Mammals. Guys, I hate shampoo. I never used to wash my hair. That was my secret. I think Zach says on this episode that was his secret as well. If you want your hair to look good, you just don't wash it. You rinse it, you don't wash it. Then Kat, my wonderful friend who cuts my hair, last time she cut it, she was like, yuck. Please cut your hair. And that happens. I do TV shows and stuff, and there's product in it. I gotta wash it, but I also need it to look good. But I didn't want to use regular shampoo because that meant it was clean, sure, but it also looked like dried out fluffy shit for 2 days. And so many guy friends I know, we talk about this. This is the problem. Unmanageable, dried out, thin, brittle hay on my head. Terrible. So I didn't know what to do. This all changed for real, when I found Modern Mammals. It's now the only shampoo I use. It's like a non-shampoo that somehow cleans your hair, but leaves it perfect, like a perfect hair day. It still has structure. It's got that wave. It's still got some of its natural moisture, and it stays in place and looks incredible. It's a good hair day in a bottle. It's not about cleaning your hair. It's about cleaning your hair and giving you a perfect hair day. Now I wash it when I want it to look good. Instead, I used to wash it and wait 4 days for it to look normal again. Now I get it on command. My hair regimen is the opposite of what it used to be. And now I wash it every couple days. Friggin' love it. Over 40,000 guys have switched to this instead of traditional shampoo. You got to see the reviews for this product. They're insane. Guys get more excited about this than anything. It blows my mind. Once you use it, you'll be hooked for life. I've already gotten so many friends in my life using it. They'll never go back to a regular shampoo, and neither will you. And it's a small punk rock company. They're grassroots. These were guys who just were fed up with shampoo and wanted to get it right specifically for men. They have bars for that no plastic thing, which works fantastic with no fragrance, or the bottle for a more traditional shampoo experience. It's like gray magic mud that I love, and it's 6 seconds a day that I spend to get perfect hair. Do it. Like, don't wait. Do it. Go to modernmammals.com/weird, and you can get a special combo deal and try both the bar and the bottle for a reduced price of $44. That's the bar and the bottle. By the way, both the bar and the bottle last a really, really long time. So this one purchase will be good for a long while. modernmammals.com/weird. All right, everybody. Hope to see you on the road. Hope to see you at Largo. Enjoy the return in person of Zach Braff. Get into it.
It looks like something happened, and then there was a quick, we got to get out of here.
The person who lives here now, my friend Kate, will love that you...
Oh, someone lives there.
Yeah. We rented to our friend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Zero.
It looks a little bit like
there...
something's occurred. We need to get the fuck out of here.
Can I say, director respecter? I'm a director respecter right now. I'm respecting a director.
Yes, how
because
so?
if you were doing set design,
right,
and you were like, I want the house to look like something
I always
happened.
think that. Do you think
like
that?
You noticed though. I can't go into her business. But yes, something like there was a shift.
Yes.
And you can tell from
I can
the
tell
space.
as a filmmaker, if I was set dressing a set, I would go, we would scout that and go, oh, I love how this is like that. You see how that's like that? Do that.
Yeah.
Oh, do you notice how this is like the calendar, like the whiteboard's half wiped off?
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Don't fix it.
Don't do that. When we're
Don't
scouting
get me
locations,
started.
I'm sure you do this too. When we're scouting for shooting locations, I'm always like taking thousands of pictures, and I'm walking around the production designer like, do you see that? Do you see how there's the bowl with the change and 4 M&Ms and a light bulb in the kitchen? I want that. Don't just take a picture of that. I want that. I want 4 M&Ms.
That has to be one of the joys.
No one ever
of it
notices
for you.
it in the film, but
no, they do.
Well, in the
Tim
macro,
Burton, Tim Burton, Tim
maybe.
Burton, Big Fish. They put they put the car in the tree. There's a moment where they put the car in the tree, and this was back when CGI was pretty bad. So he was right to be like, we're not going to CGI it. But he said something that I always think about film, which is but you don't know that you know, but you know.
Right.
Here's one. The sheets are always too clean. I know I'm watching a movie because the sheets look like they were just put on that bed.
Here's one.
Brand new spanking sheets.
Here's one.
Set for stun.
The streets are always wet, but not the cars, just the asphalt, because it looks pretty at night. I'm talking during a night scene. This is going to bother everyone who doesn't know this. If you're not in the film
They
industry,
hose it down.
this will now bother you if you're not in the film industry for the rest of time. I'm sorry. At night, it's way prettier if the streets have some sheen.
Yeah.
So they wet down the asphalt.
Yeah.
The asphalt is always wet, but it's not like it's rained, because if you look at the cars or anything else, none of that's wet.
Yeah. No, I love this. I would argue, though, 2 things. One, I think people do notice the bowl with the... I notice, if the set design is so good that I'm like, did they just walk in a house? Sorry, I'm so excited. Also, don't shave the actors. Stop it. Stop giving them free haircuts.
Shaving the actors.
I cast a guy who looked like a fucking schlub. And then he comes in and goes, clean me up. I'm going to be on TV. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I didn't book a guy who's here to be on TV. I booked you because you look like a stand-up comedian who works an open mic.
Yeah. What about the woman going to bed in full makeup? That's very common.
What about turning on the light when you answer the phone?
Yeah.
I was just watching American
What about
Gangster.
getting hung up on, and you hear the like? No, we're not in the 80s.
I just watched Tommy Boy, and it's to great effect. Tommy Boy, by the way, holds up. It's fantastic. And Rob Lowe is pretending to be on the phone, and as he's putting the phone down, he goes, but it's perfect. You wouldn't change.
Do you want
a
to
thing.
keep going with these?
I do, because
I abhor.
don't cover your breasts. Don't cover your breasts.
Yeah, don't cover your breasts.
Look, I'm not trying to see breasts. I'm saying there's other ways than to have the woman sit up with the sheet to her thing. That's not how
Right.
your movie, by the way, A Good Person, very intimate. The intimacy scenes are very legit and real and well blocked. I don't
Thank
even
you.
want to say blocked because they don't feel blocked.
Yeah.
They feel like intimacy.
Yeah.
There's
you.
laughing.
Yeah.
There's
Natural.
like natural. It feels like these people have had sex before.
Yeah.
It's not like a, you know what I mean? They've been
And you
dating
don't
for
need
years.
you don't need to show a thing.
No. In
Isn't
fact,
it funny
feels,
when you look
yeah.
back at these 80s movies, there was always a fuck scene. It was like, if it
You
was
had to.
R, if
Yeah.
it was R, it was
Hard
like,
R?
when's the fuck scene?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny looking back now? And when it's not a thing anymore, obviously there's sex if it feels justified for the most part.
Yeah.
But then they always kind of cut away. You don't sit in the fuck scene. Right? Those 80s
In the
movies.
80s, you did.
Yeah, you watched them fuck.
Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Full cupping
Yeah.
of breasts.
And
like
there was
breasts
always Venetian blinds with the light coming
Of
through.
course. Cops were always peering out of them and boobies were always glistening under them. Venetian blinds were the only blinds in the 1980s.
I think now you can. Yeah, it was hard to have a sex scene in the 80s without Venetian blinds. Anyone who fucked in an 80s movies had light coming through their Venetian blinds.
That's what motels had?
No, I think it was just a style of light that you'd get this nice pattern. We
Yeah.
call it a gobo. You'd get a nice
Ooh.
gobo pattern.
I've been to Gobo. Don't wait till you can afford it. Go to Gobo.
I'm jumping. I have so much to talk to you about. I'm worried about getting it in 90 minutes.
I will do one more. One more film thing.
What?
Like we're doing film things, remember?
Okay, one more.
Suitcases, put
Yeah.
something in them, weigh them
I
down a
hate
little
that.
bit.
That is
Yeah.
such a pet
I feel like
peeve of
maybe
mine.
we've done this before.
We haven't, but you and I are so similar in so many ways.
Cups, put something in it.
Yeah, I've been a victim of that. I've seen Scrubs episodes
fast.
where I clearly don't have anything in the cup.
I like that you go, I don't have anything in the cup. Because I'm at home going, he doesn't have anything in the
No,
cup.
I've learned these things this many years into the business. I always say to the prop person, can you
something
please
in.
put weight in the suitcase? Can
Yeah.
you please put
Yeah.
coffee in the coffee cup?
Yeah.
All right, I'll just go out with a bang and say I abhor when they remove the rearview mirror in the car.
Can I yes and that to the hardest extent and say, who the fuck do you think you're making a movie for? Removing the headrest.
Headrest as well.
You think you can remove the headrest?
Headrest and rearview mirror.
And I'm just going to be watching the movie
Yeah.
and go, I guess they just don't have headrests?
Yes. I guess they don't have a rearview mirror.
And no rear view mirror. And they're just cruising with no problem.
I hate it.
Get out of my life.
I have to say it in production meetings, like when you get to the talking about the car scene, please do not remove the rearview mirror.
Well, you're going, okay, that was my other point.
We could go on and on.
When you're going to, let me ask you this.
We should do a podcast called Things Pete and Zach
Don't like about movies?
Don't Like as Movie Conventions.
I mean, I think people enjoy. I watched a YouTube recently that was like, it was like 7 things you. I'm writing a movie that's a little bit like Liar Liar, so I was like watching Liar Liar YouTube. So
Right.
I love script analysis. I love it. It's like free film school. It's awesome.
Very good, and very good for free access to the young folks coming.
I
up.
know. Are you kidding me? You couldn't do that.
No.
You can literally go like, what's a 3-act structure? And not only will someone tell you, they'll tell you and it'll be like entertaining.
It'll
like,
be beautifully produced.
and they'll cut the fat and they're jumping around and they're making you laugh. It's like, in school, like film school, even film school would be a snooze. It would be
Film
like
school was a
and
snooze. I
that's-
went.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah, I don't
It's
remember.
a snooze.
It's a snooze. The only thing I remember, was only way I remember learning at all
Was making something.
was making things.
Of course.
The most valuable thing was that they had a room filled with equipment that you could borrow from a very hostile group of people.
You mean the guy signing it out like a police locker?
Yeah, it was always like tough.
Braff.
Yeah.
Sign that out.
You're not at the level where you can get the 16 millimeter camera. Let me see you load the magazine. Yeah, nope.
I knew you couldn't. I knew you couldn't do it.
You just exposed a whole film's worth of film.
Of me shooting my own nads.
Yeah, so fuck
That guy
that.
calls them nads.
You
You didn't like film school.
I liked the people. I loved Northwestern. I really enjoyed going there. But I would say to anyone who asked me, do not, if you want to go have a liberal arts education, of course, have that experience.
Yeah.
But if you are 1000% positive you want to make movies,
Just go
don't go to film school.
Go P.T. Anderson. Go QT.
Go make movies. Go PA.
Go ZB.
Go PA.
Well, ZB did go.
Well, I
Who's
also
PA?
I go to
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
you mean go be a production
go to
assistant?
Pennsylvania. No, I was a production assistant. I PA'd on
I
rap
was saying
videos.
go be Paul Thomas Anderson because he dropped out of
Oh.
film school. And Quentin Tarantino didn't go to film school. I'm pretty
Yeah, I think
sure.
the thing you need, especially now that the gear is so much more accessible. Back then it was also like, I don't know, they have all this gear and they're going to give me access to it in classes. Now it's all so accessible and so much cheaper and easier.
Let me ask you
Go ahead.
this on your
I'm here to answer any
your
questions.
sandwich. Put this on your sandwich and then I'll watch you eat it.
Okay.
How do you feel about inciting incident happens on, what is it, 15?
30.
30.
Oh, New World is 30. I don't follow much of that. I mean,
But does it end up happening anyway?
of course.
Yeah.
And I find that if you don't do it,
For
when
those
you-
wondering, we're talking about classic film structure. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
here's an example of, I think if you fall into that if you're telling a decent story, because anything we've all ever seen follows that structure.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
Isn't it weird that like story like does have like a DNA, like it's a thing?
Well, what happens is if you go and test your movie and you're not entering the new world in
On
30 minutes, the audience will be like, it's slow.
Yeah.
And they don't know why necessarily, unless they're in the film industry. But what they're responding to is their entire life of conditioning.
Yeah.
That at 30 minutes in, the first 30 was establishing the way things are.
And
And,
then it
then there's an inciting incident. And then at 30 minutes in, I enter a new world. So I go
You take
and
the red pill.
I take the red pill.
It's on page 30, by the way.
I'm sure.
But I'm not sure because I resent the 1 minute, 1 page thing when I write.
If you're listening to this and you've never heard what we're heard this,
If this is boring, just start masturbating.
well,
if this is boring,
well, masturbate anyway. Just have your hand on it while we talk.
We can't see you. You should just be going
Yeah,
down.
especially if you're in your car.
Especially if you're a lady. No cleanup. Just do it.
Oh my God,
Just
Pete!
do
Pete, we
it.
just began.
Can you
Listen.
imagine if there was zero consequence? You could just whap it up,
Yeah,
whap it up.
I never thought about the zero consequence.
Zero
aspect.
consequence. I dated a woman who could make herself without touching it, so she'd just be at the beach like squeak, squeak.
No.
Yeah. Little.
I want to hear that podcast.
I do too. You're on it.
I wanted to tell your audience that here's the easiest way to watch it in movies. When you're watching a movie, the first 30 minutes will be, this is the way things have been. And then something happens. And now I have to go on some sort of a quest or some sort of new thing is going to happen, like the red pill is the ultimate example. You'll watch and almost to the second, that will be 30 minutes in.
That's right. Val and I, she's a screenwriter as well. We like to just look at, we'll just, if I pause it when something big happens and unpause it, she knows I was just checking the time. Because I want to see where it is around 30. But The Matrix is a good one. The other ones we're missing is there's a call so that Morpheus wants to meet you. And in The Matrix, the refusing the call is a big step.
I don't follow that at all.
I believe you, but
No, but I'm saying if
it
I was,
happens in your movie.
if I-
In A Good Person, she
I'm
refuses the call. She puts the pamphlet on her. That's refusing
yes.
the call.
Oh wow! See, that's cool that you did that
No,
analysis.
that's what I'm doing for fun.
No, I think that's cool. Actually, you gave me a little bit of goosebumps on my arm.
Isn't that fun?
Because here's the thing. I think if you're writing a giant studio movie for a ton of money, you have an obligation to follow that structure probably to the T because you're trying to maximize your audience.
Yeah.
I think when you're telling a personal story that's more independent, just tell the story as good as possible. Now, what's going to happen just intrinsically is that you're going to follow some of those conventions because that's every movie we've all ever seen
Right.
for the most part.
It's like, it's even your dreams, sort of like your better dreams have like some sort of flow. to
Even
them.
the way you tell a story. If you come home to your wife and you go, I have the craziest fucking story to tell you what happened to me today. It's going to follow a structure.
It even follows a modern structure. Let's say I come into your apartment and I just go, you're not going to believe what just happened to me. I just got cut off by like a biker gang threw a chicken in my window. And then I go, sorry, let me start at the beginning.
Yes.
That's movies. That's
Yes.
movies now.
Yes.
You put on a movie now, it starts in the action scene. It's like,
Yeah.
5 minutes
I should-
earlier.
I should probably
5
tell you how
hours
I
earlier.
got here.
Yeah, exactly. Freeze frame. It's Ratatouille. He's jumping out the window with the cookbook on his head and goes, let's back up.
Well, because you have to.
Wait a minute.
Now more than ever, you don't get a lazy first 30 minutes.
Well, that's why, speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson, when I watched...
God, you really like Paul Thomas Anderson.
Well, he's only come up twice. Give me another 45 minutes. Let's see how we do. But did you see Licorice Pizza?
I did.
That movie, I really enjoyed it. And I'm pretty sure that movie had almost no attempt at what we're talking about.
Yes.
Like it opens, if you are delighted by like incredible acting and dialogue and an interesting camera move, which is asking a lot. Let me put this to you. I watch Fast and Furious movies. Like this was years ago, but
I've never seen one.
I got stoned and I was like, I'm just going to watch a Fast and the Furious movie. And I couldn't, Zach. Everything, look, no disrespect to Vinny D, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's
okay. He's going to be okay.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I got $1 billion.
He made $1 billion while you've begun this anecdote.
Since you've begun your sentence, I made $10 billion.
Is that a Vin Diesel? Is that a Vin Diesel impression?
Me, Groot.
It sounds.
Hey, it's me, Groot.
I don't know Vin
I'm
Diesel's
the
work.
Iron Giant.
I honestly don't know Vin Diesel's work, so I don't know if
I do a pretty good Morgan Freeman watching a
that
movie
sounds
last
like
night.
Morgan Freeman. Go ahead.
Here's Morgan Freeman calling
I do
you.
a really good Morgan Freeman.
Well,
Go ahead.
we'll see.
No, the pressure's on. You do lots of good things. I don't know if it's Morgan.
No. Hello, Zach. It's me, Morgan, calling. I was very happy to see that the movie came out. It was very good, and I was pleased
That's
with
a decent
the
impression,
way that
Pete.
you
I'm
edited it.
enjoying your impression, but this is Morgan Freeman.
No,
Hello.
I think you're...
Hello, Pete. This is Morgan Freeman.
Sort of sounds like David Attenborough.
I think we should do
I
this
am the guy
entire
that talked
interview
about the
as
penguins.
Morgan Freeman. I want to talk about the penguins.
Every time the movie, because your movie is intense. Like anybody that hasn't seen A Good Person, go watch it.
Yeah, please watch A Good Person.
But push, I'm not going to say push. Emotionally, so it's successful as a movie, you have to stay with it for the first 30, 40 minutes.
But why? That seems like you're implying that that's going to take some
Efforting only, let's put it this way. I mean this as a compliment. It's succeeding as a movie and it's very heavy.
Yes.
And then around the time that Morgie Free starts kind of coming more in the story, you go, oh, it's redemption.
Yeah.
You think, is he making Babel? Remember Babel?
I do remember Babel, yeah.
Is this a Babel? Is Zach just going like, don't forget, like the world's fucking crazy and things go crazy?
Okay, that's good advice to people. The movie is not, the movie has humor in it.
It uses humor all the time.
But it is certainly.
You think I like this shit?
It's certainly.
Yours was great, by the way.
It's certainly an intense film. It features two very heartbreaking performances by Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman.
Oh my God, her share?
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
It's not a spoil. She has there's a lot of great monologues, and she has one that you're like try not to cry. It's an incredibly successful movie.
She is astonishing, but at the moment you're talking about is one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. I guess I know I'm biased, but fucking hell, that performance in that moment is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Oh, speed agree. But also one of the things you do is
What's speed agree?
I agree very quickly. It's something we used to say, Laura Guten and I, a great writer, when we were in writers' rooms, would go speed agree. It means I accept your pitch. We don't have to talk about it.
Are you always in a good mood?
No, I love seeing you.
You seem like such a happy human being.
This is like that joke.
You're like a dose of fucking serotonin.
I'm sunlight. I love this. This is like that joke.
Speed agree.
Lions, I saw Louis say it, scandal noted, but on the show, Louis, he's telling a street joke.
Scandal noted.
Scandal
you
noted.
have all these little Tourette syndrome.
You have a podcast. You have a podcast. You have to say scandal noted.
I'm going to adopt it. We don't know how to talk about things like that.
That's how you
just skip it.
Look, the whole podcast would just be like, I understand the nuance of it. You have to just be like,
because I'm often asked about films that have influenced me.
Yeah.
And
Scandal noted. Annie Hall.
I don't know how to talk about Annie Hall. Annie Hall was like
scandal noted.
Annie Hall was like one of the most pivotal films of my whole childhood. It was my father's favorite movie. My father would project it. Somehow he got a print, and we weren't like a rich family with a movie theater. He got a print somehow and was projecting it on the living room wall at a dinner party. This is how much the movie impacted my life. And I go do press for A Good Person, and I don't know. I'm not allowed to talk about, understandably, Woody Allen. I get it, but I need the expression scandal noted because it's weird to remove it from my entire history.
I completely agree. and as people that I know that have complicated relationships with family members. We all know the gear, scandal noted. I love my dad, scandal noted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We know that nuance. It's not new.
But I don't know how to.
We're trying to bring it into pop culture.
I like the scandal noted thing,
Yeah.
but I don't know. On my podcast, we usually just skip it or cut it.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to upset anyone. We're in the business of hoping that you'll spend an hour and a half with us and laugh and smile, and we don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah, I understand.
But at the same time, I do find myself going, oh, let's just cut that. Like it doesn't, what's the point?
Well, you're doing risk reward, but right? I mean, the risk of keeping it in is upsetting people, and the reward is very small.
Well, what I like about your little scandal noted thing is it goes, I know what you're thinking, but also we want to express ourselves freely.
Well, you don't want to gaslight anyone too. I would wager that one of the worst things about trauma is the denial of the trauma. I've said this a million times, but when I would watch a zombie movie as a kid, it wasn't the zombies that were scary. It's that no one believed the person that was like, there's zombies.
Right.
Like you escape and you go in a house and everyone's having dinner and you're like, there's zombies. And they're like, all right, Dan. And they're all dead 10 minutes later. So what I'm saying is to acknowledge pain, conflict, tragedy, trauma.
Yes.
And just say, I know.
Got it.
Makes it not a non-gaslight now. We're not acting like Woody Allen is not a complicated person or that I can say Louis C.K. said this joke.
Right.
We say scandal noted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to steal it if that's okay. Do I have
You're
to
not
say
stealing it if it's a gift.
Did you make
and
it
you'll
up?
notice there's no gift receipt in there.
Did you make
'Cause
it
you're
up?
keeping it.
Where's my gift bag? This show feels
You do get
this show feels fancy enough that you'd get gift bags.
Modern Mammals. We have the same hair type. That shampoo is going to knock your dick off.
Do you know that you sold me something that on your podcast that
I know. You love did you get a cold plunge?
I just got a cold plunge. I don't think I got the brand that you advertised, but what I did get is one of the everything you need to eat.
Yeah, Kachava. You got Kachava.
You successfully sold me Kachava.
But you and I are similar dudes. This is what you want. Shake that up and drink it.
I have a really good self-help book for you too. That's like 70 years old.
What's it called? Because 70 years ago.
I got to look it up. It's come from the 1950s.
A 1950s self-help book?
Yeah.
It's like,
you're not
tell that dame to shut her yap, get in the car.
This is the first public...
smoke a cigarette, do a belt of scotch, and you'll feel like a man again.
You'd think it would be that. You'd honestly...
Salute the flag.
I want to tell your audience...
Give the finger to most of Europe.
Here you go. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie wrote the more famous How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, okay.
Now, I listen to podcasts and I am drawn to things about anxiety and worry. And this book came up a few times. And I thought, that's funny. It's from like 1950. How could it be relevant?
Yeah.
And I want to sell it to you.
I want to read it.
Because I find it more helpful than most. And
It's because he's like, let's get down to brass tacks, boys.
Well, it's just universal truths.
Yeah.
The things that are causing us to worry and the framing in our mind of the way data comes through our eyeballs into our brain every day and how we receive it is the same from 1950.
Yeah.
Occasionally he'll say some word that you're like, we don't use that word anymore.
Right.
Not a racist word, but just like an expression that you're like.
Right.
But it's just funny and fascinating that his tips and tricks and anecdotes are more relevant than ever.
Yes, I'm with you. I think truth is truth, and we're kind of doing a lot of rediscovering.
Yes,
and that's
Stoicism
wasting.
as an example.
Yeah.
He's pulling from Stoicism, which is now everywhere and wonderful and helpful.
Right.
But he's referencing Marcus Aurelius in the 1950s.
How frustrating is it that Marcus Aurelius figured these things out?
Yeah,
and we still want to find out for ourselves. But Stoicism, to me, is reduced to like, you can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond to what happens.
Yes.
I think of you almost every time I exercise because you said the other 2 times you were on the podcast, it was the only thing that came up both times. And I was like, that's a big Braff. Big Braff.
What is
It's
it?
a big Braff. Big Braff. Love Zach.
Speed agree. What is it?
It's exercise would put me out of business, is what your therapist said.
Yeah.
So whenever I get on my whatever exercise thing, I'm like, this is mental health.
Yeah, it is.
And everybody was saying that, but why did I have to figure that out for
I've
myself?
reframed it in my brain for thinking of it like, you think you if one takes an antidepressant, like think of this just as another piece of your medication.
Yeah.
You have to exercise or you're not going to be as happy.
It's insane. I've said this on the show before, but I got a Peloton. I noticed the character in A Good Person.
Yeah, I have one too.
Riding a Peloton. And I was like, I wonder if Zach has a Peloton. I also wanted to know if you do EFT, which is the thing that Molly Shannon makes fun of.
Well, she makes fun of it because she doesn't understand it. I did it once. My stepmother is very into it, and she learned how to do it. And I was having a very stressful moment, and I happened to be with her, and she starts doing it with me.
Yeah.
And I'm rolling my eyes and being like, this is like weird witchcraft.
Yeah.
And it did, in fact, calm me down.
Yeah.
And so...
Tell the people what it is, because no one knows what we're talking about.
It's...
Emotional freedom technique.
Well, it's tapping on different pressure points on your body. And there's plenty of YouTube videos where you can watch people doing it and talking you through it. Or if you can afford to do so, find someone where you live who does it. I'm very interested to do it. I just happen to have a stepmother who had learned. And it's tapping in several places on your face and on your chest. And think of it almost like acupuncture, but doing it with your fingers.
Yeah, without a needle.
Yeah.
And then there's a component, the way that I learned it. I'm trying to remember, it's this.
Did you find help from it?
This. Oh my God.
I do this one all the time.
Is that one?
This is one, and it seems it's like fucking what's his name in the Scorsese movie. But I do find that it's just a simple thing. Just give yourself a handful of taps on the chest like this, and it kind of calms you down.
Val's always putting her hand just on her chest, like a gentle hand on chest. I find that. I had an acting coach for scenes where you have to cry. They're like, just put a hand on your chest and say like, it's safe. You can open up here. It's okay.
I like that. Did
Isn't
it work?
That crazy? Oh yeah, it worked great.
It feels nice. If you're doing sort of yoga or something like that, and someone will say like, I put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, and that just feels nice. Getting
in your body, I think I'm going to say for guys like us, I think we're top-down guys. You think about the world? You out there thinking about it, or are you kind of in your body?
I mean, am I in my head or?
Bottom up means like body first, like feeling grounded, feeling in your body, sensory. And top down is like, I think about how this is going more than
I'm a huge thinker. I'm a huge worrier. This book is I've always had anxiety. I've had OCD. I've been diagnosed with OCD. I think I have OCD. I don't even I'm questioning it all now. But I definitely am someone who I've gone through my whole life thinking everyone worries and overthinks things at this level. And it's only like 48 years old that I'm like, oh no, it really isn't everyone.
Which, by the way, going back to Annie Hall, that scene where he's in the line at the movie theater and he addresses the guy behind him.
Yeah.
That was our Party in the USA. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
The way people feel about the song Party in the USA, I feel about that.
Being able to grab Marshall McLuhan from behind a poster?
I just mean, I'm like you, overthinking, analyzing, what does it mean? What did that mean? How did it go? Did I do it right? And that moment where Woody Allen addresses, is anybody else hearing this guy?
Yeah.
Like, my whole life, it's wonderful that we were able to love movies because popcorn is the loudest movie snack. Right. Slurping on straws. Back in the 80s, it was totally in bounds to be like, that's gotta hurt. I remember we saw the Kevin Costner Robin Hood. And like, first of all, you had to have a joke for every preview. Everybody had a joke. Bring a pillow, stuff like
yelling
that.
Stuff out.
Everybody. And then this guy, my brother and I still say this to this day. It's the opening scene in the movie where he's in a jail and he's going to get his hand cut off. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Okay.
It fades up and the guy goes, Bangladesh. He just yells Bangladesh. And then the Chiron comes in and says Jerusalem. And then he goes, Jerusalem. Like he took the correction.
I can't go to the movies like that.
This is what I'm saying. I'm too sensitive.
Yeah.
But the whole world is like that.
I don't think they are. I think that...
I don't mean the whole world is like that. I mean the whole world is like that to me.
Oh, yes. I'm saying it took a long time for me to go, not everyone has this particular neuroses.
Yeah. Did I say this to you last time? I was like, art is highly sensitive people reporting back to the rest of the group what reality is like for them.
Wow, that's beautifully said.
Isn't that right?
You didn't make that up, did you?
I made that up.
Was that Marcus Aurelius?
Seneca.
Wait, say it again. I like that.
Art is highly sensitive people reporting back to the rest of the group what reality is like for them.
For them. That's
and what's
beautiful.
crazy is, though, the rest of the group relates because there's a part of them that can kind of
Well, yeah, they see.
Get into
if
it.
they made a piece of art, they would create something different or it would overlap. But they see, ideally, if they've come to see your art because they like your art, they see a piece of themselves in it.
Absolutely.
I did in you. I so loved seeing your stand-up show. I saw it right before you did it live.
That's right.
Will it be live before or after this airs?
It'll be out after.
Okay. Well, everyone, obviously, your audience is going to watch it.
But it means a
'cause
lot that you liked it. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm
thanks,
not
man.
just saying that. I've been thinking about it. I've seen other stand-ups since and not like them as much as you. And I thought it was, I thought you were so funny.
Thanks, man.
And I thought it was everything I like about a stand-up hour or so, in that you made me laugh, but then you moved me, but not, you didn't do too much. You
just a little.
Just a little bit of something.
I feel, well, we're similar.
And you had good insights. In addition to being humorous, you made me think about things in a new way. I just thought it was masterful.
Thanks, man. To give you a compliment in kind, because I do think we're similar, and I would even say you influenced me with Garden State, is like there's a certain embarrassment you have to get over sharing what you think is interesting, ? Like your character is a good person as well. Say interesting things. And there's a certain vulnerability. I'll give you an example. The guy in the bar, it's not a spoiler. He says, I won't be able to do the line you will. He goes, we're not even half as much of the people you think. You're more like what you think we are than we're half of what. Like there's this brilliant line like that.
Yeah.
I probably ruined it now. You probably couldn't even
I mean,
fit.
you fucked it up so much that I'm trying to think of what the line is.
But
now,
what I'm saying is you lay these lines in, and there's a risk. There's a risk to like being clever. I always think of Fight Club where he goes, how's that working out? He goes, what? Being clever. It's risky.
Yeah.
But when you can do it like a restaurant that does put Thanksgiving in a chilled dish and you're just like, God damn, that was Thanksgiving. But it doesn't ruin the reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't make every character talk the same. Like that guy said something clever in that guy's voice.
Right.
So you did the same thing.
That guy's also pointed in being a very clever person who never got out of the local dive bar.
Right.
And I find that sort of person interesting. I have friends at home in Jersey that are so smart.
Well, they're lacking, not lacking. That sounds like they're missing something. But what I'm saying they're lacking isn't necessarily good. I'm going to put it as a question. You and I have a compulsion. I'm going to say I have a compulsion to, if I say that, I'm like, I have to share that. If I say art is highly sensitive people reporting to the rest of the group what life is like for them, I'm like, I got to shout that from the rooftops. Some people are wired differently. They can have a very clever or brilliant or an interesting, they can have a great song in their heart or a movie idea. Right. And they're just kind of like not as neurotically compulsed. Obsessed.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you. My shit gets me out of bed. What a gift. It'll wake me up. It'll make you go like, get up more than a flight will.
Yeah.
Like it goes, you have to write that down.
How lucky are we that you're doing that? I felt that when I was watching your show. I thought we're so lucky that people like you are working so hard to do a performance like that.
Well, I feel the same way. And where are you with your work? Are you still compulsed? Is that a word?
Compulsed.
Do you feel compulsion? There you go.
Yeah.
To do it? Like, because
I feel a little exhausted after you do the whole cycle of something. I don't know if you're someone who can do your hour and then want to go right back and start again. I don't.
No, I have a postpartum.
Yeah, postpartum for sure.
I just texted someone last night. I was like, how was the special? I was like, it's good. You have a postpartum, and then you have a vulnerability hangover where you're like, oh no, now they're going to see it. Even though I stand by it, I'm going to promote the hell out of it. I want people to see it, but then I'm like, oh, they're going to see it. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, I feel that too. I don't have the impulse to go right again, or I'm going to direct other people's things. I'm going to direct Shrinking season 2 once the strike is over with Bill Lawrence.
That's great.
But in terms of like sitting and staring at the blinking cursor, I don't feel a compulsion to do that right away. I did start something that I'll go back to, but it's so hard for me to make something and then release it and then beg the world to see it. And you kind of want to go fetal for a while after.
Completely. Did you watch the Arnold documentary?
No.
The 3-part. There was just one part that really stood out where he was like, other actors, they don't want to promote their movies. I go out, I promote. And I was like, that's what it is. This guy like is unembarrassed by all of it. You know what I mean? He's not the actor who will be in the movie and then doesn't want to do the tour. He's like, I go to Bangladesh, I go to fucking India, I go to Jerusalem.
But don't you think it's so much more? Do you feel as someone who does all three things as well that that the most vulnerable one is writing?
Interesting. If you had said acting, I would have quickly speed agreed, because writing to me is like going into the weird cave and there's like a cauldron and I'm like, I'm sorry, it was the spell. I was under the spell. And even if it's like weird or strange, I'll be like, it came out of the cauldron,
Right.
Whereas acting is like, that was your choice. Like you went like, and like everyone's like, well, like you mentioned shrinking. What would Jason Segel have done? He probably would have done that more interestingly or better. With writing, I'm just sort of like, I have a strange confidence with it where I'm like, I'm doing it exactly how I would do it.
I like that.
And no one would do it.
You should teach that
like
in a course for others.
I'm shocked. You are one of the voices. You're one of the choices. People are ripping you off. Or let's put it in a positive. You've shaped a generation of writers, people that wouldn't have thought of doing it. I'm sorry, I know Garden State was a long time ago. I'm just saying like, that's a seminal, it's like Good Will Hunting. You know what I mean? It's
Thank
like,
you.
oh shit. Guys, like, I know you were a show business guy, but so was fucking Ben and Matt. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we can do it. Like it had a certain, our voice was important. Our stories were important. Like we can do this. And I think that had a ripple effect. So it's not strange to me, but I'm curious how it feels for you writing.
I'm very, I love having written. I find it it very hard to get my butt in the chair. But then when I get going on something and I'm excited about it, then I'm off to the races. It's just I don't want to say it doesn't come easy to me, because that's not true. The truth is that it's a battle for me to put my ass in the chair.
Yeah. I'm almost hesitating to say this because I'm in the middle of an experiment and I can't tell you the long term of it. But I've started I'm calling it addiction marrying. So I hate starting writing. Like I love being in the flow, but it's really hard.
When you're staring up at the mountain.
God, I can't stand it. I've had a movie idea it's like my Get Out at this point. I've had it for like 10 years. It's completely outlined. It's like ready to go. Just write it. Like the outline, that's the hard part. What's the story? Like for me, that's the hard part. Dialogue's fun. You know these guys.
Yeah. It's easy when you go, all right, I need you to write a scene. Pete Holmes and Zach Braff are in a coffee shop. They're discussing whether they're going to rob the bank or not.
Yeah.
And there's a character waitress that comes over and she keeps offering them decaf, but they want regular coffee.
Right.
Go. I could write that scene 10 times and have fun with it.
Yeah, that's right. And in the reader it says, she'll be important later. Can we add that to the waitress? The waitress, Betty, she'll be important later.
Remember her.
Remember her.
Do you put little
I do.
fun, sassy comments in your action lines?
I do.
Yeah, you strike me as a guy who does that.
I love having fun. I love being flowery in my descriptors. I don't care. It's like it has to have cock to it. You know what I'm saying? It has to be like cockiness. It has to be like, billowing.
I think that's fun. I read so many scripts as an actor and director that aren't mine that are hard to get through, and they might be incredible films. It's just that love and fun isn't necessarily in the action lines.
I agree.
Don't you feel that? I've started to do it a little bit more, just because I think, gosh, who's ever reading this has read so many scripts, and throughout history, at least the ones I've read, what's great is going to be what's made, not necessarily what's in the non-dialogue action lines. And I've tried, at least with A Good Person, I tried to be a little bit more fun with it.
Why not? There was a script on the Blacklist that I always think about where he would write "fade the fuck in" was the
That's
first
bad,
line.
Though.
I know it's a little too much. I'm with you.
Calm down.
Calm down. Did that movie get made? Or are we talking about the name of that movie?
And
no,
that
I'm just
movie-
talking about a movie people talked about.
And that movie
And that movie
was
was a serious man.
and that movie
No, let me tell you, Addiction Marion.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Part 2.
Have you seen Paddington 2?
You mean The Perfect Movie?
I know that that's a meme and stuff. I think it's the most beautiful movie I've ever seen in my life.
It's a perfect movie.
I finally had to watch the Paddington movies because there were so many jokes about how Paddington 2 was brilliant.
I agree. It became a thing.
And I was sick and I had strep throat or something. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buckle down and watch these fucking movies. Paddington 2 was one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen.
Buddy, is that the ring? Because I'm going to throw my hat in it. Paddington 1 is also excellent.
Yeah, but Paddington 2 does take it up a notch.
I agree.
They're making Paddington 3.
It's building off the back of Paddington 1, which did a lot of the heavy lifting.
But when he's, oh my God, spoilers for those of you that listen, but when I started sobbing when he was underwater.
Oh no. It's the perfect, the bad version is.
It's also so beautiful.
It's Toy Story 4, where the aliens very subtly, they're at the dump and the alien toys very subtly run off. And then they're about to get incinerated and then the aliens save them. But it's a very key moment as a director. Like, how do we subtly show that the aliens go with the claw and they run off?
Right.
You're like, I buy that. We've had 3 movies of them being obsessed with claws. They run off for the claw. But you don't note it. You don't make a meal of it. There's no hard angle that follows them. They just kind of run off and then they save. The bad version is you're watching an action movie and the hero is running and it's me and you. Okay, it's in our bank heist movie. Right. Betty's gone and we've robbed the bank. And then you run off and you go, I just saw a DVD of Scrubs. And we're like, that seems kind of heavy-handed. And you're like, I didn't even want to say it, but I wrote it. But you ran off to go get the DVD of Scrubs. Then I run off and then I get cornered and the bad guys are going to kill me. And they're about to kill me. And then bang, their body drops and reveal, it's you, right?
It's Betty.
Better.
We got to write this movie.
She'll be important later.
She was important pretty soon after. She shot Pete Holmes.
She'll matter in a moment. Buddy, I didn't even get that it should be Betty.
That was so soon that Betty shot you.
That's actually 45 in the movie. It's
we
a
got
good 45, 50 minutes later.
Oh, okay, good.
But in Paddington,
we have one ticket sold over here.
In Paddington, the fact that his friends are betraying him and you buy that they would betray him and then they change their mind.
It's also just so pretty. I love artful films that actually don't forget that we need to have a beautiful story.
Speed agree.
Speed agree.
I'm also going to say this. So I watched the Aaron Sorkin masterclass on screenwriting.
Was it beneficial to your writing?
Yes. But I can I can summarize it pretty quickly, the things that I really took from it. And one of them was the solution has to be in the beginning. Meaning, he says very articulately, you can't have them go in the third act, everything's gone to shit. What about the magic lasso? You can't.
Right.
You can't. Everyone hates that. And then he realized there was a magic lasso that would open a new dimension. You have to see it at the beginning. So in Paddington,
that's helpful. I like that.
Buddy, are you ready to have your ass blown into?
I don't want to have my ass blown.
It's going to be blown.
It's going to be blown like you're going to open it and
no,
like a balloon and open it.
No. I'm glad you asked because I really pictured it.
Oh.
You're standing pants on.
Oh.
A tornado goes by.
I thought you were opening up my asshole like a balloon and blowing into it.
No.
I don't want that.
You mean a Hemingway? Like I know the movie. Oh, a Hemingway? No, your ass blows off like it was a separate plastic piece, like manufactured differently.
Oh, okay.
You're like a toy.
I no longer have an ass.
And you just don't have one. And 6 months later you go, I don't miss it.
No, 6 months later I go, I'm not feeling well.
I'm a little backed.
I don't know what it is. It might be that fact that I haven't defecated in 6 months.
I don't know what it is, but it might be that I don't have an ass.
Yeah, scandal acknowledged.
Scandal noted. He does it. He does a speech. Hello, scandal noted.
Scandal noted.
It doesn't work when you do it.
What is it scandal noted?
Scandal noted.
Can I tell you what he said to me once? Scandal noted.
Who did what?
Can I tell you what Woody Allen said to me? Scandal noted.
Yeah.
I was doing the play Bullets Over Broadway, the Broadway musical version of his fantastic film, Scandal Noted. And each night he would give me in previews when a joke wouldn't play, when a laugh line wouldn't play. The next day he would give me a card with a new line to try that night.
Oh wow! So he blamed the line. That's good. He sided with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's what a comedy writer in theater should be doing, sitting in the back of the house, and when something's not playing, trying something new.
I agree.
And
Or you could write a big old P on that script. You know what that stands for, don't you?
What?
Performance.
I don't think he ever said it was my performance.
Well, that's what's making him rare. That's what I'm saying. He's siding with you.
Are you saying you get cards that have a P on them?
As a writer, and knowing this as an actor, it's brutal. If you're at a table read and you hear everyone go, they just wrote a P because you went, talk about Taco Tuesday.
Oh, I never knew that.
They write
What
P.
I saw on Scrubs was when it gets a laugh, there'd be a check.
Check is good, but P is different sound.
And then also you'd see Bill do a big cross through it, which
yeah.
meant like, fuck that joke.
That's right. That's right.
But I never heard a P.
I would see a lot of P's.
Really?
My favorite note story.
What, like on Crashing?
Yeah, other things I did, but I remember one time I was shooting a scene in the West Village and Judd was directing and he came up and he was holding a script and I looked at his script. Why? What am I doing? Nothing good is on that script. He's directing us and I look at his script and he wrote in the margins, Pete needs to be funnier.
Oh my God.
But
how was that not soul crushing to you?
Because he's right. The character, we were always trying to find the level that my character was supposed to be funny. In fact, I fantasized about after I'm dead, they'll do the funny cut of Crashing. Because every scene I did like a balls out, every riff I could think of take. Just not what we did. Because he's supposed to be depressed. He's supposed to be sad. He's supposed to be new in comedy. He can't be coming in and being funny not funnier than Bill Burr. But I can't be keeping pace with Bill Burr. I'm an open micer.
I disagree with that choice.
I like you. You can direct season 4 coming to Quibi. Roku. Can I tell you?
Coming to a Sunoco gas station pump.
Yes. 30-second episodes. 2 ads.
Listen, have you not heard the new thing that we're doing 30-second episodes on gas pumps now?
I hate that they're taking our consciousness at the gas pump. If there was one place left to look at the wind in the trees, it was the fucking gas pump. And now it's someone being like, new Exxon with Techron.
We're losing track. I want to get to the fact that Crashing was incredible and I loved it.
Thank you.
It makes no sense to leave jokes on the floor. I'm sorry to the king of comedy, Judd Apatow, but I disagree with that choice.
Well, you want to email him?
I'm available. I'm available for Crashing season 4.
No, you say when I die an untimely. No, I don't even want to say that. You can do the
Jewish version.
The Jewish version.
Yeah, same story. What if we did the exact same scripts but just switched everything to Judaism?
That is really funny.
Would you be okay with that? Can I license it?
Yeah. Wait,
and my stepsister Jessica, my stepsister will play herself. Again,
if we can do, but you see, your characters are never like overtly Jewish, even though your middle name is
Israel. How do you remember that? Which brings me back to Scandal Noted.
What he told you.
So one night I get to the line in front of 2,500 people. My brain is going, fuck, what's the new joke? What's the new joke? I can't remember it. It's panic.
Of course.
And in my panic, I skip the whole thing, the setup and the punchline. And the next day, I see him coming up to me. And
you don't. You hear the oboe. You hear the oboe playing, and you turn, and it's approaching.
Clarinet.
Oh, sorry. You hear the clarinet, and you turn. It's him.
I heard
a glowing clarinet sound.
I heard a very bluesy clarinet note.
Talk about something nobody wants to tell somebody. Woody, the clarinet. It's not cool, man.
Anyway,
my reed.
So he says to me, I said, I'm sorry, I forgot. I panicked and I forgot. And he goes, yeah, you probably get a bigger laugh if you actually say it on stage.
Woodrow.
Scandal noted.
Scandal noted. Can I finish the Paddington?
Yes.
So
this is not a 3-act structure conversation.
No. What a thrill.
This is like a Tarantino conversation.
And yet,
jumping all around.
I agree. And yet, if this was different, the listener would know something was wrong. There's something unspeakable that is correct.
What the listener likes in this form is two people who like each other jumping all around because they have shared interests.
Agree. And I
hope.
I would add to that, they enjoy listening to kindness. I actually think that's what, on a deeper level.
Yeah, you're a very kind man.
But I like having an opportunity in a space to be loving and kind, effusive, don't hold back a compliment, you know what I mean? Create a safe place for each other. I think that's a nice
I think that's
thing
one of the
to have
reasons I'm
rub off
drawn
on
to you
folks.
is and also I mentioned Rich Roll, a podcaster who I really liked a lot. There is just I think I said to him when I was on the podcast, it feels like there's so much negativity on the interwebs. And now I feel like there's this draw, at least with my own brain, to be pulled towards kind voices.
Okay, I have a lot on this. Real fast, because I've said it a billion times. But there was
Speed
a
agree.
study. You're going to love it, though. There was a study. Sorry, everybody. But if you've heard it before, I've heard it every time you've heard it.
You can just say there was a study. So
There was a study. These people walk down a hall. They get to the end of the hall. There's magnetic poetry, and they have them make poetry with the magnetic poetry, and they leave. Everyone thinks they're studying what kind of poems do people make? Well, based on their income. But it's not that. They're studying how quickly they left the room based on the words they gave them. So the one group, the first group, gets words like swift, quick, rapid, rushed, and they walked out like 30% faster than the group that were loaded with the impetus.
what is that?
It does not taste good.
It's just I was expecting water.
Is it?
Is this one of your sponsors?
Yeah, cucumber lime.
It's so
Okay.
amazing.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
That's good. Super NS. Don't cut that.
I won't cut it.
Don't you cut that.
I won't cut it.
Listen.
You mean the real? Can I tell you why it might taste a little funky?
No, now that if someone said, hey, it's cucumber lime, I'd
Then
be
it
like,
would've
I'm
been
ready.
fine. I see.
But I was expecting water.
Now that you've said it,
It tasted like water had gone bad.
cucumber does taste like water turned into a melon of some sort.
Yeah, it tastes like,
I've never had that flavor.
it's nice though. I don't hate it. Nirvana, Super NS. I love it.
It has HMB in it, which helps you keep from losing your muscle mass.
You're such a good salesman with your with the things you promote on the podcast.
You mentioned that before because you told me on your podcast you sort of
Well, now we take it a bit more seriously because we have real sponsors that we don't want to
upset.
Yeah, we want to do a good job for them because
I
they really
understand.
believe in the show and they support the show.
Yeah.
But we used to, not take it as serious. But I listened to your podcast. I'm like, this
love that you
fucking guy
did it.
could sell me anything, and he did.
Well, that's why
Kachava.
I want you to have a magic mind.
Does
drink
this
it.
really do anything?
Oh my fucking God, it's the fucking best.
This relaxes you?
It takes the edge off your caffeine, gives you nootropics to help you think, and it gives you a little bit of green tea. It's
And you notice
incredible.
it.
I love it.
All right.
For
Do
real.
you drink alcohol?
No.
Yeah.
Do
How
you?
long?
It's been 5-6 years.
Did that totally change your life?
No, I would be, I mean, yes. You know what I mean?
You weren't a big drinker before.
No, I was. It's not the thing. It's like quitting drinking does change your life, but it's all the work that does to get you to the place where you can quit drinking. Does that make sense?
Or you did a program?
No, it would be selling it short. Love, support, friendship, creative fulfillment, spirituality, recognizing what wasn't working, but having a foundation that allowed me to recognize that something wasn't working. These are all things that led to me to quit drinking. So to say quitting drinking, what I'm saying is those things that are like, I quit drinking for 90 days and my skin got better and my dick got harder. And I'm like, sure, but really quitting drinking is the symptom of a lot of progressive good changes. Does that make sense?
But I think as someone who's about 5 months into
No booze?
auditioning No Booze, I think you're minimizing how great it feels.
Okay, fair. Yes, I might even not be remembering
It's 6
because
years
I was
ago.
just like, what? How much of a signal does your body have to give you when you drink too much alcohol? It goes, shut everything down, get his attention, sound every alarm, give him a headache. Give him nausea, give him diarrhea, give him lethargy, give him depression. You know what I mean? Make it so he can't do shit because he needs to get it through his mind that was poison.
Yeah.
And we're like, hair of the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Talk about marketing,
But don't
talk about a
you-
lie.
By the way, that's one of the things that's come to me, and this is so stupid to people who have realized it, or especially people who are sober. But one of the things that's come up for me after trying this on for 5 months is, oh my God, our entire lives,
We were sold.
we were fire hosed with
Yeah.
this is how you have fun
That's right.
on earth.
That's right. It's
with
not.
hot girls.
That's right.
And with beach bodies.
Nope.
And with friendship and camaraderie and the big game. And I know this is so obvious to a lot of people listening, but I don't think I fully really digested it until I had a little bit of a break from that world.
Because I really, this is going to sound silly, but I applaud your sincerity and to share that, because sometimes the most obvious things in the world are the most overlooked things in the world. And there's like this mass hypnosis. But I was like, this is a good time at the beach. Like I remember being in a, drinking a beer and I'm like, this is it.
But we were programmed that.
That's what I'm saying. Advertising works. It works.
I used to put up the Absolute Vodka campaign was so cool.
Oh, the posters.
And I used to collect them.
That's right.
And my parents didn't object. I think they just thought, oh, he's appreciating the art of it all. But I had a wall of vodka ads.
It's Joe Camel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to think of something that would appeal to everyone that will get the seed in them early. And alcohol is one of the most addictive chemicals in the world. And that is I always thought you were either an alcoholic and you had the allergy, like you had this disease, or you can handle it. And I'm also like, well, those things can be true. And it's also true. Here's a third guy in the race. Alcohol's deeply addictive. So you end up needing more.
Yeah.
You build receptors in your brain and it takes two where it used to take one. Almost everybody who's drinking is drinking a little bit more. There are anomalies, but usually it grows. It gets more and more and more and more.
Yes. And as someone who battles anxiety and depression, the idea that I was regularly pounding a depressant feels a smidgen idiotic.
I still don't fully understand what that means, that it's a depressant. I think it has something to do with your circulatory system. Like it's a I don't know, but I don't think it means it makes you depressed.
I do.
It does?
I think it causes you a bit of gives you a bit of a dopamine high.
Yeah.
That has a high point that then you can chase after you've reached it for the rest of the night. You might reach it after 2.5, 3 drinks, depending on your body weight. And then you're striving to maintain the dopamine high that you got.
Yeah.
But all of that will lead to a crashing down of a depression of your mood and system eventually.
It's like, weed is similar. It's like, it was like 1 out of 30 times you'd have this like epic, like it just blended with your chemistry, but it was you. You know what I mean? That was a big revelation for me. It's like, I was in a good mood and I had alcohol. And then alcohol is like, that was me. And you're like, but then you're in a shitty mood and you're like, this will help. And it like doesn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then it was like, well, that was on you. Like it's never on him. And then you look back and you're like, to me, it's a deeply spiritual thing. I think bliss, joy, and just pure happiness, just regular happiness is in your ability to lock into this moment and not think about the future, not replay the past, right?
Yes.
And I think when you're drunk or when you're stoned
Or hungover.
or in the middle of binging food or in the middle of mindlessly playing fucking whatever, a lot of things can rob you of that. And some people find a balance and they just want a little break. I understand. I can't speak for them. I can say for me, it was like hitting fast forward. It's like I can't feel how I feel right now. So I'm going to drink and like medicate.
Right.
And then and then tomorrow, I also didn't know how to just say no to things. So I'd be like, I'm drunk. I'm sorry, I can't. It's like, whoops, I got drunk. It was like calling in sick.
For me, it was just a part of how I grew up. I mean, my whole family and friends, everyone got drunk. That's what we did from the time we were young teenagers.
In my high school, I'm really glad that I dodged that because that was happening.
My high school was some of the hardest drinking we did.
Really?
I said we like I'm a royal. Some of the hardest drinking we did.
The Zachness did most of his drinking in high school.
No, I remember the kegs and all that in college, obviously. But anyway, I don't know that it's forever for me, but I'm enjoying this experiment a lot and seeing a perspective on it that I haven't ever before.
I'm so happy that this episode is brought to us by BetterHelp. Zach and I are always talking about how therapy has changed both of our lives, and getting to know yourself is a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Like before I went to therapy, I think we talk about this in this episode, I didn't know what codependency was or how to end a relationship in a healthy and nice and kind and helpful way, or set up boundaries with family and people that I work with. But that's what therapy is all about. deepening your self-awareness and your understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we do until we talk through things. It's greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just talking. It is real help. And BetterHelp connects you easily with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. Because the more you know about yourself, the more easily you can maneuver through life with less suffering and more clarity. Relationships, grief, loss, anxiety, you name it. Talking about it with a professional helps. Full stop, end of story. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It couldn't be easier. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can even switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/weirdo today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/weirdo. Definitely do that. Therapy has changed my life. Also, brought so much more fun into my life is LECTRIC, LECTRIC, electric e-bikes. Summer is in full swing, and guys, I am so happy to say that Val, Leela, and I have been spending way more time together outdoors as a family, enjoying the warm weather, fresh air. Running errands is now like a super fun thing to do. Taking Leela to school is a super fun thing to do. We've also just been riding our electric e-bikes with our friends around town. It is incredible, and it makes summer like 50 times better. They're so fun. I'm so happy LECTRIC e-bikes are a sponsor. And just in time, LECTRIC is bringing you a fast and fresh new ride, the XP 3.0, the 3.0, their latest e-bike model featuring new hydraulic brakes. Snag your LECTRIC XP 3.0 e-bike this month and experience freedom like never before. I got Val an Expedition. I kind of got it for the family. Then we got the +1 seat for Leela. She absolutely loves it. I can hear her when we're on the bike and she goes, "It's like flying." It warmed my heart. This thing is comfortable, well-built, sturdy, and it runs so smooth. You can either turn on the pedal assist or at any moment you want, you can turn the throttle and off you go. It's the best of both worlds, a manual bike and assistance from the batteries. It's easy, it's fun, the batteries last a really, really long time, and it gets us outside in our neighborhood, seeing it at bike speed, which is so much more beautiful and calming, soothing. I love it. It's fun for errands, going to the beach, going to the grocery store, or just cruising around town, and it's something I can get my daughter to do. I say, "You want to go on a ride?" She always says yes. They're created to make a mode of transportation that anyone can ride, with quality feature-filled models financed as low as $73 per month. Your adventures won't cost a fortune. They include a powerful removable battery, a bright LCD display, 7-speed gearing, and 5 levels of pedal assist to power your ride. Electric e-bikes are foldable and ship-free, fully assembled. So rediscover your independence this summer with an XP 3.0 from LECTRIC. Visit lectricebikes.com to learn more and explore the epic models LECTRIC has to offer. That's LECTRIC ebikes.com. They're so fun. You got to check it out. Back to Zachy B. There's a book. I can't believe it took me this long to mention it. It's called This Naked Mind.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Annie Grace.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
If you read it, you'll probably stop drinking.
There's also a...
Because it's like, why would you stop and then go back?
There's a guy who created something called 1 Year No Beer. Is that what it's called? Anyway, it's sort of I think he has a website that's a challenge. It's like a 3-month challenge and a 1-year challenge, all this stuff. And I heard this guy, I don't remember his name, on the Rich Roll podcast. And I think that was the tipping point for me. I was like, everything this guy says, I'm interested in. He wasn't someone who had an addiction on the level of he needed to go to a program. But he found that there was a gap between there was plenty of people out there who were quote unquote sober curious, who didn't need AA per se. Maybe they did. Maybe they discovered they did and they would do it. But also those who just like without AA, there's a gap that isn't being serviced, or people who are like, I'm curious about what my life would be like, but they need a thing So he created this idea of a challenge because it also has helped in social situations where there's peer pressure. You can say, no, he found that, especially with men, if you said, I'm doing this challenge, they'd be like, what? Tell me about the challenge.
Yeah.
And
then they're all like, I could do that.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh, good luck on the challenge. I won't make you do the shot then.
Right,
Cool.
right.
Challenge.
We're so dumb.
So dumb.
We're so dumb. He's absolutely right.
Framing it in a bar to
Yeah.
buddies as a challenge helped him get through it.
Because that's what booze is too. Booze is a poison, and drinking it and staying on your feet is a way of peacocking. It's showing that you can drink a poison and still function sexually. I've said this a million times. That's what a man. What is a girly drink? White wine, Cosmopolitan. What's a guy drink? Scotch. Something that tastes like a fucking forest fire.
Carl, kerosene.
And you're like, but you show that you can handle it.
You know what I love is a turpentine on the rocks.
I love a tea on the rocks.
Tea on the
TT on the rocks.
You know, a lot of people like the classics, but there's just something about turpentine on the rocks with a little bit of lime.
Oh my God. Or a dash of pine salt.
I'm kidding, everyone. Please don't try that and sue me.
Don't do it.
Instead, try Super NS Nirvana. It tastes like cucumbers and lime, but make sure you're ready for it. Otherwise, you'll be surprised.
You still haven't had your magic wine. Drink it, and in 10 minutes,
Now?
you tell me if you
Okay,
feel it.
I will.
Because you can be like, I don't
experiment.
feel it. You have to shake it up, though. Make sure
This
you
will
get
be
all
an
the goop on
experiment
them.
for your audience to see, and I will audience, I will not bullshit you. I will give a candid.
I like that you're not drinking because sometimes I was on their Amazon page and some people are like, I don't feel it. And I'm like, I don't think those people are very embodied. Like they might be dealing with like a hangover or something.
All right,
that's
will you
so
set a
rough.
timer? How long does it take to kick in?
I'd say 15. Where are we in the time, by the way? 105.
Do you edit this down?
No.
Just raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw.
Do you ever cut things out?
Only if it's like,
Spoilers.
no, it's not every once in a while.
I'm excited for your fan base to see your special.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's so good.
You know what it's called? I'm not for everyone.
That's funny. You do a whole riff on there that I won't share, obviously. But I really thought it was just on sexuality that I hadn't heard spoken about in that way. And it was
The last one?
What?
About how dicks aren't gross?
Yeah, the whole riff, an area of sexuality and what's socially acceptable and all that stuff. I just thought that was really. I hadn't heard it. I hadn't heard it articulated in that way before, and especially you growing up being a religious guy, I thought that was. Of all people to be talking about it, I just thought that was really interesting.
I really appreciate that. Somebody actually said something nice to me on Instagram recently, and they're like, I loved your new hour, and they were like, I loved all the boner stuff and the poop stuff. And I was like, when you put it like this, it sounds like I'm JoJo the Idiot Circus Boy.
Love the boner stuff, love the poop stuff. Love the blowing up the asshole stuff. That was great.
The Hemingway stuff.
Did you keep in the thing where you just riffed? See, I saw you practicing it.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun for me to see it. To see how much of the riffs that I saw you kept or didn't keep.
Well, I think everything after the first 5 minutes of that was probably pure improv.
You didn't do you didn't keep in when you played the Succession theme song?
No, there was no piano on the stage. No piano on stage, so I didn't do it. I love trying to play the Succession theme song.
Can you play the piano?
Oh, un poquito.
You hit some of the notes as I
got
recall.
it okay.
Yeah.
I got it okay.
You'd practiced before.
I had done the bit once before.
Isn't it a great theme song?
It's a fantastic
It's just not a theme song you skip the intro on.
We skipped it.
Oh.
I'm gonna take a hot take here.
Oh no.
I actually think it's kind of stupid. The dad walking around with like VHS camera and he's just like walking around in a suit, kind of like looking judgmental.
I guess I don't really analyze the visuals as much as I love the melody.
No, the melody is great. I have no notes on the melody.
People have remixed the melody and they play it at clubs like under a beat.
You could.
Yeah.
I even like the shots of New York City. I think that's fitting. But when you get to that like fake, like this is
Super
their
8.
home video, and
Actually, it's probably VHS.
What happened in the home video was the kids are just hanging out and the dad's just walking in the background. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know that I will accept negativity about Succession, but
You will. Did I do it that night?
Did you
everybody
love the
on
show?
I love the show. Everybody on the show says fucking when they're thinking. They'll go like, yeah, Dad, fucking maybe we could do that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I like how Shiv always goes, yeah? Like, question mark?
Yeah.
Should we do that? Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought that was
Greg.
such wonderful, wonderful acting.
It was.
and all from most people that we hadn't really, as a society, discovered yet.
That's true.
And I really enjoyed that.
Can I tell you the Paddington thing?
Yeah, sorry.
So
Let's
the
circle
magic
back.
lasso.
There was a study.
It's not a study.
You
What?
Sorry, I'm trying to circle back. You at some point said,
Oh, the study.
Sorry to my audience. There was
Oh,
a
the
study.
kindness. So it was the words that were it's called imprinting. So if I say kindness, if I say gentleness, patience, presence, I'm imprinting those words on you, and it will literally affect the way you change, the way you behave. In the same way that if I say impatient, tick tock, what are we doing later? Like you'll become a little bit more aware of how long this podcast is going.
I think that's in my film. A
good person.
I wasn't going into a plug, but thank you. A good person, now available to rent everywhere. But I do think that
it's a $5.99 rental. I appreciated that.
Yeah,
I have it. I have a screener, but I rented it.
Thank you for your $5.99.
You're welcome.
The spirit of vulnerability and kindness, I think, is baked into the screenplay.
Absolutely.
To me, that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And I love, so that's what we're talking about. And that's why I think people are listening to it. And let's get back to that. But I'm going to tell you this Paddington thing because you're going to love it. The magic lasso can't show up out of nowhere. Paddington saves himself by walking on top of the train by using candied apples that stick. He puts his feet on candied apples and he walks.
Right.
The candied apple makes its first appearance in that movie as they're walking through the carnival on their way to see Hugh Grant give his speech.
Yeah.
And it's just perfectly baked in. He's just eating a candied apple. There's no dialogue. And he gets his paws stuck on it.
Yeah.
Other people are talking. And then he accidentally gets it stuck to a woman who's walking by and he goes, well, just looks like a joke.
Yeah.
But that candy apple, it's satisfying that it comes back. The thing that saves him was established in the beginning. Same thing happens in Paddington 1 with Dustbusters.
I like that. You're really selling to me watching this masterclass with Aaron Sorkin.
I also just saved you about 7 hours of watching a man in a great suit.
I bet there's other tidbits that are wonderful.
Good tidbits. It's worth signing up for that.
I really do like a lot of his work.
Oh, that goes back to addiction marrying because Aaron Sorkin always makes me think of caffeine and nicotine and just like having a lit up brain. So I hate writing so much. It took me 10 years. 2 things I did. I read The War of Art. Have you read The War of Art?
Yes. I don't know that I finished it, ironically.
Interesting.
I should have gotten my ass in the chair to finish reading it.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's basically the book is like, get your ass in the chair. But I've been doing this new thing where I hate writing my movie, and it's been working. I only chew 1 piece of Nicorette gum only when I'm writing my screenplay. And I write a lot of things. I write stand-up, I write this. I want to, because nicotine's so fun. You're like, well, we'll do it for emails too. It's like, nope. It's just when you write the screenplay.
And do you get a buzz off of it?
Well, yeah.
Because you used to be a smoker.
No.
You were
don't
never a
have
smoker?
to be a smoker. Nicotine is a...
You found Nicorette gum as a...
Scandal noted.
You found...
You came in there with...
I was not trying to do a Bill Cosby.
You love all these guys.
No.
Scandal noted.
Scandal noted times 2.
Times 2.
Scandal
squared.
noted cubed.
Yeah. Cubit.
Scandal noted. And if you wouldn't mind, cubit.
Shonda Rhimes. Scandal noted.
I was not trying to do a Bill Cosby impression. I don't want to mention 2 scandalous comedians.
But you know how I knew is because I'd smoke a cigar every once in a while and you get a real buzz off of that.
I have never heard of someone who has no addiction to nicotine.
Just going for it?
Just going for the gum. You're the first.
Yeah.
Is it a thing?
It's a thing. Give it a YouTube search because there's like,
what am I going to look at? Best ways to chew your nicotine gum?
You could say medical benefits of nicotine, yeah. It's a nootropic. It gets your brain going. It gets your blood pumping, and it has a mood elevating part. Look at all the writers, Stephen King, chain smoking. There's a reason. It helps your brain function,
I see.
But it's also highly addictive. So I'm like, okay, I'm only going to do it when I write. And guess who hasn't missed a day of writing? I never miss it. I can't wait to write.
That's clever.
I can't wait. And
I don't know that it's healthy though.
It's not, what is the word? Non-carcinogenic. It's like caffeine. It's just highly addictive. You just have to be aware that it's highly addictive.
I got it. So when you go into the store to buy it, is the guy behind the counter like, oh, good work, man. How long you quit?
And you want to sign up to 35 mil? Is that it? Yeah, that's right. I'm the guy from NYU Film School. Northwestern Film School. How perfect. You went to an Alfred Hitchcock school to learn film.
No, it's not based. The film school is not based on the film by Hitchcock. Do you know why Northwestern University is called Northwestern University?
Because it's north and west of Harvard?
No, because at the time it was founded, it was in the northwestern part of the country.
And where is it now?
Just outside of Chicago. No, it hasn't moved. The country has expanded west. Yeah, it used to be in Portland. Now,
where is it now?
It's in Evanston, Illinois, where it always has been.
Oh, I like Evanston. Good movie theater.
Yes, and a Baha'i temple.
I don't care for them. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Scandal noted.
Just kidding. New scandal. What other threads are dangling in the breeze before I bring up new threads? You were saying kindness in your movie.
Yeah, kindness and trying to be vulnerable and as honest as possible with my writing. So not really putting on any airs or trying to create anything that wasn't feeling 100% myself and being sort of fearlessly vulnerable about it. And for better or for worse, that's what I wrote.
Yeah,
with the film.
Okay, forgive me if this is stand-ups don't like when people say, "How do you remember all those words?" You're like, that's not the most impressive thing about what was happening. Mm-hmm. It's also not how we think about it. So forgive me if this is the how did you think of all those words of your movie.
Go ahead.
But how did you come about that story? Because it is a very interesting, compelling story. Do you mind? We'll cut this out if you don't like it. But something happens.
It's in the trailer. You can talk about the car accident.
There's a car accident. This guy's fiance. So a woman who's engaged.
I'm probably
to a man.
better at this than you are, just because.
No, I'm going to do it. A woman is driving a car with her future sister-in-law and her husband. She crashes the car, and they both die.
Yes.
So obviously, we cut forward in time.
A year later,
the wedding is off.
Yeah.
This woman now has an opioid addiction.
Yes. She initially was prescribed opioids for the pain of the car accident, but remained addicted to them because of the benefits of numbing her emotional pain. And
we very like a good candied apple. We've laced into the story that there's a grandfather and a daughter. And the grandfather and the woman's fiance, her fiance, are estranged.
Yeah.
They don't talk anymore.
Yeah. And we did candy apple that in. Yeah.
You candy appled it in, meaning like, why are they telling me this?
Yeah.
Come to find out, she finally gets her butt to a meeting and he's there too.
Yeah.
That's just a great story.
Thank you.
Tell me, is that the first thing? What was the first thing that you went, I think I have a story here? Was it that? Like, what if two people went to a meeting and they knew each other from, was it that? Or what was it?
No, I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm sure when you think about elements of your stand-up or things you've written, you go, I don't even know what the seed of that was. I know,
it's true.
In terms of the plot points, in terms of what the tone, I've been very sad dealing with grief and loss. I've lost 4 people in my life that were important to me in the last 4 years.
I remember your manager had just passed when we spoke
Yes,
last.
Chris Uvain had taken his own life right when we had spoken. He was someone who was important to me. I lost my sister to a stroke. I lost my father to cancer. I lost a friend to COVID who was living with me. So I think I just wanted to write about standing back up after feeling like you're at your lowest low.
Because like the character in the movie, what is her name?
Allison.
Allison
played by
in
Florence
the movie.
Pugh. Yeah.
These are the overlooked groups. Like we, as a society, we don't do great with grief, right? We don't do great when someone's down.
Right.
AA and NA is one of those incredible places where we're like, no, in fact, to come in here, you have to be broken.
Yes.
But for the most part, I remember when, this is different, but when my first wife and I got split up, somebody at my church actually said that to me. He was like, and he was an elder at the church. He was like, we actually don't do great with tragedy.
The church?
Yeah. He was being very honest.
That's not really our thing.
It's not really her thing. He was saying it like as an apology and like we need to get better about this. But it really is the broken place. It's the basement. It's the cigarette coffee people that are doing it. So here you are feeling that, and then you made a movie that sort of addresses.
Well, I wanted to talk about standing back up after whatever your lowest point was, and I wanted to write it in such a way that it would be universal. So obviously, God willing, most people don't have vehicular manslaughter in their life, but they do have a horrible divorce. Yeah. They do have the loss of a loved one. They do have the loss of a job, the worst breakup they've ever been through, being cheated on, whatever it is. They have an experience where they were on the ground.
That's right.
Sobbing. And they have and or will find a way to pick themselves back up, no matter what the scale of that debacle is. And I wanted to write about that. And I wanted to write about, I also have always been interested in friendships that are very beautiful to me that aren't ones that you could have ever predicted. These two people.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah. They would never, had it not been for X, Y, and Z, they never would have met.
But we buy it. I buy it. I'm saying in the movie, I buy it.
Yeah.
It's not a spoiler. In fact, I feel like the movie is so good in its execution. Let's not confuse it as just a story where you go, oh, and then that happened. And then, it's the execution that makes it extra beautiful. She goes to the meeting. Her ex-fiance's father is at the meeting.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman.
I was in the meeting and I had a bit of a drinking problem.
Yeah.
In the blackness. Very good. That was very good.
Thank you.
That monologue is incredible.
Thank you.
But she gets up to leave. I buy that, right?
Yeah,
that's
of course,
real.
That's what she would do.
And then he follows her and says, "Don't leave." And I buy that.
Yes, because not only is he a man of God like yourself, but he is also someone who's been in AA for a decade.
Right.
And service is very important. And knowing how hard it is to get there is important.
Right.
And his first instinct is kindness. His first instinct is no. Don't leave because of me.
Right.
I know how hard it is to get here. Come back.
Right. And it's one of those things like it's tricky to talk about this because we have issues that need to be dealt with. We have people that need to be called out, Harvey Weinstein and the people that have come up already. Like there needs to be accountability.
Yes.
I'm with that. And there's also this very special and very human thing, and we love stories like this, when you can know what somebody's done and love them. And we call that grace. I understand that there's a perversion of grace that's almost like gaslighting. Like, let's just act like nothing ever happened. Crazy Uncle Tony. You know what I mean? I've been at tables like that where we're all, that's not grace. This is like, I know what you did. And he's like, when she's like, are you here because of me? And he's like, yes. Right? Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to lie to you.
At first he tries to.
He tries.
Because she says, I thought you were sober. And she doesn't fully understand that people who've been sober for years still go to meetings because they like to and because it helps them. And he says, yeah, well, I stopped for a while and I'm back. And she says, is it because of me? Is it because of what happened? And he says, no. And she says, is it? And finally he gets to the point of, yes, of course. What the fuck do you think? Of course I'm here because of the death of my daughter that was so important.
But so it's honest. It's lights on. You know what I mean? Like the pile of dog shit is in the room. That's grace. You know what I mean? It's like gaslighting is let's turn the lights off and just have Thanksgiving.
Right.
And act like we don't smell the dog shit. Grace is like, I acknowledge it. Of course, I'm here. You broke me. You hurt me. Like we have these feelings, but let's try to work through them. And there's something really beautiful about that.
I think it's so beautiful. I've never heard this grace defined like this. So just say it one more time clear for me.
I'm not even sure I agree with me because there's definitely levels of it. There's a post over there that says, Father Greg Boyle said it to me. He goes, forgiveness is overrated. Forgiveness is I acknowledge that you, Zach Braff, hurt me that time. You did do that. And I should be mad at you, but I forgive you. Like it's an act. It's almost like pushing a stone through a small hole or something. Grace is just going like, it's always there. Like it's mercy. It's like, it's not an efforting. It's just like, it's a releasing. It's a dissolving. There's one of my mantras is God is the love that I forgive in. Like it's not me. I'm surrendering it instead of intellectualizing it and being like, Zach might have been having a bad day when he was a jerk to me.
Right.
And I've had a bad day.
Right.
So I can understand. That's intellectual. Grace and mercy are just like, it's clean air.
Wow, I like that.
It's
I never
stuff
heard
that people
Is
on
this
their,
the kind of stuff they're teaching in church? Because I am willing to convert.
it's deathbed stuff. It's what are we doing? Dragging things up and throwing shit in each other's faces just to have an identity. Just to have something to do. You know what I mean? Then you're on your deathbed and you're like, I'm going to die at the end of the day.
I feel like you should give a TED talk. I'm serious.
I'll do it.
No, I'm serious because you're very funny, but you're also, I feel like in this, you touch on this in your new stand-up special, but I feel like you have wisdom to impart. Beyond just being a funny guy who drops a few knowledge tidbits in their stand-up special.
If you no.
I'm just saying that there might be a TED talk or something.
No, thanks, man.
I'd go.
I like your
I've been to the TED conference.
Have you?
Yeah, twice.
Did you enjoy it? Seems like if you'd have to watch 6 of them,
You don't have to watch them all.
Yeah.
And you can come and go.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is that you meet fascinating people. The people that are there are all very accessible. You can be like, oh, I'm curious about psilocybin for PTSD. Oh, Jim Smith over here is the leading practitioner in the country.
There's a guy with devil sticks.
He's just like going like this at the sky. Excuse me, Jim. Can you
The guy
help
that's
me?
squinting his face with his open hand.
Excuse me, Jim. I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you help me with my PTSD?
Have you dabbled in the?
No, I want to though. I'm very curious about it. I did it recreationally in college and stuff, but I'm very open and intrigued by the work and research going on with all of psilocybin and MDMA and the others for depression.
I had ketamine therapy, and I can't recommend it to you, but if you want to sniff around that bush,
where is it?
a few interesting-
Where do I
yeah.
sniff it?
This one's ketamine. There's shampoo. There's a flow state
there's
in
no
the
gift
bottle.
bag, but there's ketamine on the desk. I'm not allowed to tell you to take it, but if you want it, I left it there.
It's just weird that more than the others, and I've done a lot of different psychedelics, ketamine has become a touchstone for me in my spiritual practice where I'm like, I understand. Like you read something like esoteric and it says something like we're all one, or like we're all saved together, or none of us are saved at all, or if I do something, we're all doing it, like weird stuff. And I'm like, I have a part of my brain that I'm like, I've been there. I know what they're talking about.
Now, when you do ketamine,
Lobster.
now you're just doing it because I'm burping, and
Well, Woody Allen is a burp, became a pair of glasses, then became a man.
scandal noted.
That was the best scandal noted of all
Scandal noted. When you do your ketamine, are you in a therapeutic setting with eye mask and music?
You can do that.
You don't.
Mine was with a therapist, and it was a little bit more cash,
Right.
but it was
What I hear
there
about
was music.
What I hear about MDMA.
I didn't put an eye mask on.
What I hear about MDMA and psilocybin has been
that helps.
eye mask and music that takes one on with a practitioner that knows what they're.
I think having a trained professional makes a difference, and MDMA definitely can get you to self-love. That's what MDMA is really special at for me, is you go like, I've already said this on the pod, forgive me everybody, but it's like I felt like leaves were being swept off my walkway to my house, like I'm the house, and we swept the leaves off, and it was like this golden walkway. Like I was like, oh my God. Like you would be like, Zach shares. You know what I mean? You'd be like, he feels so much. And he shares it. He doesn't want you to be alone.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to feel how he feels when he's low.
That's
so
true.
He goes out with it.
That's true.
He risks
This
it.
is good MDMA.
He
I
risks
feel like I'm on it.
humiliation.
Maybe it's this fucking thing.
Yeah! It's
the Magic Mind, everybody. Hi, I'm Zach Braff from Magic Mind.
But you will. And then you write things and you give roles to other actors. You let them shine. Like a good person is like, you're welcome, actors. Like these great
they got some great parts,
scenes, great parts.
Yeah.
Not that, there was a part of me that was like, could ZB have been in this movie? But then I'm also like, here's ZB, Golden Street ZB. That's what MDMA does.
Wait, I love you on MDMA, and when can we do it together? A. But B, you were surprised that I wasn't in the film?
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
There was just a part of me that I do love you.
Thank you.
And I like when you're in the movie.
Thank you.
I sound like your mother.
I feel like
you know what I mean?
I feel like for me, this was so challenging.
Yeah.
That I always knew I wanted to have it be Florence's film and of course Morgan's film.
I appreciate that.
And be fully focused on
coach the game.
Coach the game.
People were like, "Do you want to direct your special?" And I was like, "You don't coach a game you're playing."
Right. I think that's a really good way of putting it. When one does direct themselves in a movie, it is so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And then when you switch to not doing it, either just being an actor or just being the director.
It's a dream, right?
It is such a dream.
It's a dream.
It's the ultimate version in my life of swimming without weights on, where you're like, why was I ever doing this?
Why were we making more than it had to be?
Someone sent me a script recently. Yeah. Well, my agent sent me a script and said, this is amazing. It could be for you to act in or direct. And even just reading the synopsis of it, I was like, I would never do both on this movie.
Yeah.
This is double black diamond skiing. I would do one or the other.
Yeah. Right. This whole time I was just scrambling for a movie that was like really basic. So I could have been like, so you didn't direct, and then some dumb movie. I couldn't think of it.
Let's go back. We'll help you.
You didn't direct Clifford.
Let's pitch on what a really funny punchline movie to that would
so
be.
You
Something
didn't direct,
so simple.
It's hard to not put someone else's movie
the Meghan Markle Oprah special.
There you go.
It's tricky because I wouldn't be in that. It doesn't really hold up.
So you didn't. I'm going to all old movies. You didn't direct the Brady Bunch movie. This is double black diamond.
This is hard because it's period and.
That was one of the first movies where I was like, oh, not all movies are good.
The Brady Bunch
movie?
Brady
Bunch movie. Yeah, that's pretty. I made it pretty long. Still thinking movies could be.
Do you turn movies off?
I walk out of movies. Yeah,
you walk out.
I proudly leave movies.
Yeah. Do you make a showing so everyone can see?
I toss my popcorn down and go. Okay, I'm going to give you all a minute to Google my name. It's Pete Holmes.
My dad, rest in peace, used to love to let people in the theater know that he wasn't liking it.
Oh, please. Like stuff like that.
He'd be like, with a big shift in his body. And so it was horrible. I loved him to death, but it was so horrible to go to the movies with him because when he didn't like it, he wanted you to know how much he didn't like
his
it.
His vote.
And it's so cringy when you might be liking it.
Yeah. I get embarrassed for people that are liking a movie that I'm hating. Like they laugh at stuff and I'm like.
What about, and we're not going to mention any titles, audience, don't worry. But what about when people are raving and the town and the critics and everyone's going crazy for something and you're like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
This is not for me.
I'll name some names.
You
I haven't seen
them.
Okay.
I don't think we want to put down any fellow artists.
I wanted to.
I never do that.
You called me to my higher angels.
Never on our podcast ever mention anything that we don't like.
Buddy, look, it's a beautiful thing to remind someone to be kind.
But I wanted to tell you that I often feel like I have no interest in sports for the most part, right?
Yeah, American sports.
I like tennis. I don't watch. Let's just stick with football. American football.
Regular football.
It's funny because I directed the second episode of the whole run of Ted Lasso, and it was the first one with actual gameplay. And I was the director who was tasked with figuring out how this show is going to shoot soccer.
Yeah. That's when you go, ODP.
No, I figured it out.
You did?
Well, with them, we had the pitch, as they say, the soccer field.
I'm already out, by the way. I hate this.
Okay.
No. I'm
going to finish this?
No, not this. I'm a director, and they call the field the pitch. I'd be like, Fucking get over it.
No, it's very important to these people in this game. The pitch is so sacred that I got to the field and for the tech scout, and they said the greensmen are there who maintain the pitch, and they said you can't bring any equipment on this field. And I said, what now? And they said you can't bring a single piece of equipment on this field. And this is an enormous soccer pitch. And I said, how are we supposed to film on it? This is not like something a Steadicam operator could run around with all day long. It's enormous.
Yeah. So you mean you need a dolly? You need like track?
I needed track. I needed dolly. I needed cranes. I needed lights. I needed all the equipment that you see if you ever see behind the scenes of a movie. I'm telling your audience, I know that you're familiar. We needed to put all of that on the pitch. Most importantly, we had to figure out a way to move the camera on the pitch to capture the soccer in a way that was fast that they would go along with. So along with the cinematographer and the key grip, I came up with this idea. There's these giant tires they often use on beaches. They're like inflatable, huge tires.
Oh, yeah.
You see them on the light, on the big lights, the big, heavy, like 20K lights. In order for the grips to wheel them in sand, they use them. But we came up with the idea that if we put a remote-controlled head on a three-wheeled tricycle-like vehicle that was not motor operated, but that two grips in soccer cleats could run with, that it would be light enough that it wouldn't touch the pitch or hurt the pitch at all, and the greensman signed off on it, and it could be remotely controlled from the sidelines by the operator. And together we all invented that.
Wow.
And that's how all the soccer scenes in Ted Lasso are shot.
Cut to just a stogie-smoking Jersey crew shooting in a cemetery willy-nilly. Hey, put my sandwich on. Esther Roman died 1892. And they just put it on someone's grave. But not the soccer pitch. Not your precious little round ball game.
I know. That's funny. That's true. I didn't know what you were talking about until you were talking about just what it's like to shoot in the cemetery.
I saw that. I saw that you didn't get it. And I liked it.
But I was trying to yes-end you, but it took a while to find out where you were going with it. I didn't know if it was a Garden State reference because my film shot in a cemetery.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Did you catch that Jackie Hoffman, who's the woman who sings once, twice, three times a lady,
yes.
and also says, I'm the one who made you a shirt. Try it on in case you don't leave for another 9. You don't see it for another 9.
Yeah.
She's the woman yelling fuck boy in A Good Person.
I did notice.
Okay. I just wanted you little, I put in a little Easter egg for you.
And I think I asked you about that the first time I watched it because she goes, fuck boy, that's what they call him. Get off my lawn, you shirtless.
Get out of our neighborhood, you
shirtless fuck boy.
No, then she goes, she improv this.
Yeah.
This amazing comedic actress, Jackie Hoffman, New York staple. She says, try fucking now with your wet, flaccid cock.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I didn't write that.
Your movie's so great. One last compliment about your movie because the tension is so high that you need these moments.
Yeah.
And when they happen, you're like, It's almost, it's salty and sweet. You know
I
what I
love
mean?
that. It's my favorite form of storytelling is that I'm going to get you to the point where there's tears welling in your eyes, ideally, and then I'm going to make you belly laugh.
Yeah. No,
that's my favorite form of entertainment personally. So I aspire to do that.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Have you won Garden State Q? I'm not even a huge Garden State head, but here we are.
Go ahead.
Have you watched it in the past 10 years?
No, I don't really want to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even want to watch A Good Person currently. I think you get to a place where you've seen it so many times.
Well, that was my other question is, can you watch it? Like, have you ever seen Garden State? I don't think you've seen it. I know you have, but have you? Because every shot is a memory, every shot is a choice, every shot is all this stuff.
And it's also became such a juggernaut of a zeitgeisty thing. Thank God. That was awesome and life-changing. But I think now it just feels sensitive or something. I don't know. I don't want to watch it.
There's an earnestness.
I love that people love it.
Yeah. It's very earnest. It feels hard on sleeve. So I think it would be vulnerable.
It's the first thing I ever wrote.
That's what I mean.
And I was very young.
This isn't code for there's mistakes in it. I'm saying it's an earnest movie.
Yeah.
And going back to anything that you made in earnest in that age, you'd be like,
you should see my student films. I mean, I'm proud of them for what I did at 20 years old, but I look at them and cringe going, oh my God, what are you doing?
I remember I want to be an outlier. I remember Natalie Portman being like, do something that's never been done. And I remember being like, I wanted your character to go, me not doing this has never been done. Like me saying no to your stupid game.
But that's how personal that movie was to me. I used to do that. That's straight out of my own life. All of that.
You would say, do something that's never been done?
No, never told anyone about it until I wrote it into a movie. But I would, to myself, go, no one in the world has ever stood on this spot, made this wacky noise, patted their head, done this shimmy. Like, I have done something that no one has ever done on earth. And so I would just kind of make myself giggle with that.
I love it.
And then I wrote it in, and I wrote Natalie doing it in the movie.
That's generous.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. This is MDMA Zach. You took like a gem and you gave it to Natalie and you were like,
but it's for me. I mean, it's
I know.
this brilliant actress doing it for my story.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Florence and Morgan. And I'm to me, they're two of the finest actors alive, and I get to watch them interpret my words. That's the coolest thing I've found about making art.
That's what old Greta Gerwig said. Of all the things she's done, directing someone else saying her lines was the biggest thrill.
Oh my goodness. You referenced Florence's AA share in the movie. I mean, watching her do that, watching Morgan say lines I've written, and he's been one of my favorites forever.
Yeah.
Well, and and Wish I Was Here. I made a movie with Mandy Patinkin, and watching always been one of my favorites. Watching Mandy Patinkin say words I'd written.
Battleship Potemkin. I saw it.
And
the baby penguin will actually walk for.
I love that you always go back to Penguin. You know, he lost a bet to me, and
what was that?
He had to do my outgoing voicemail message.
Hello, you've reached.
Hello, this is Morgan Freeman. Zach can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message.
Can you play it?
No, it's been deleted. But this is back when I directed him in Going in Style.
Love it, need it.
What happened was I played it so many times that it started like
it wore out like a record.
It kind of did. It got like degraded. I didn't think that something digital could get degraded, but it did. And by the end, I was still trying to show off to people, and it was like.
What was his vibe when he did it? Was he like, or was he like, all right, I lost the bet?
It was in front of the whole crew. The bet was whether he was wrapped or not. And I'm the director, so I was like, I know that this is your last shot. He was wrapped early that day, and I said, this is your last shot. And he goes, no, it isn't. I mean, yeah, it is. I promise you're going to be wrapped early because I'm just the last shot I need of you. And he's like, no, I don't believe you. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'll make you a bet. And he goes, okay. And I said, okay. And I made the bet. I said, if you lose, you do my outgoing voicemail message. And I was like, I'm definitely not going to lose now. I'm not going to spontaneously add a shot because I want this fucking message. Yeah. So it was standing literally on the waterfront in Brooklyn in front of a 100-person crew. We paused shooting for a second for Morgan to record my voicemail message.
One take?
Yeah. He only really likes to do one take of anything.
Oh.
I mean,
really?
I have to push him to do more, but what happens is you do take one. What happens is you do take one, right? And then anyone who's made anything knows that you go, okay, that was a good lesson for us all.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
We all learned a lot on take one, and now we know that we're going to move that there. Let's close those blinds. Can you not put the cup there? And hey, the background, would you mind walking a little bit sooner? And on that line, make sure the director has notes for everybody, right? But when you direct Morgan Freeman after take one, you go, all right, that was great. Let's go again. Why? Why?
Why?
Just why from the other room.
Why? Child, why?
Why the penguins will ask why.
I was trying to get in his voice. I went with child, and it sounded like the wrong choice.
Why?
Hey, Zach.
Why?
I have a quick question.
Hello, this is Zach Braff. Why?
Hello.
I guess I just missed my friend Andy Dufresne. Why?
Andy Dufresne was a tall drink of water.
Andy Dufresne crawled through 6 miles of human feces.
Would he do that?
No.
If I was him, it would be so fun to I'd be having dinner. We're having dinner.
He's happy to talk about stuff.
Zach cut into his baked potato with vigor.
It's
he
funny.
Salted it a little.
I learned a
too
lot.
much.
I got so many anecdotes out of him, but he told me when we were recording. So when you rap, shooting, Morgan has voiceover in my movie, as you know, and you do a temp track of the voiceover because you're going to need it in editing. The assumption is, of course, you're going to come back and one day record it in a perfect sound booth. But you need the voiceover for editing, so you're going to grab it on set in a little makeshift sound booth with sound blankets. And he told me, he goes, "You're not going to re-record this." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "Yes, on Shawshank, Frank Darabont just used the temp track because he fell in love with it." And that's actually what happens. He's right, is that you then go cut with it for so many weeks and you fall in love with it.
Guess who that happened to?
Oh.
Ben Schwartz, Sonic the Hedgehog. He did the temp and they fell in love with it.
Oh, really?
They're like, "You're Sonic. That's who you want to be, the temp track."
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sideline a captivating Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, you hijacked
superstar.
a very limited edition Shawshank Redemption
With a
anecdote
Ben Schwartz
with the Ben
anecdote.
Schwartz Sonic the Hedgehog anecdote.
I mean, I'm living in regret right now.
I
am.
Listen, I love Ben. Who doesn't love Ben Schwartz?
Hollywood loves Ben Schwartz.
They do.
Everyone. Every single one of us.
Isn't he the voice of the Star Wars Rolly thing?
BB-8?
BB-8.
BB-8.
I don't think that's BB-8's voice. He's the voice of some Star Wars creature.
Beep boop, shaboop.
That one.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
What was the other one? Well, give me another Morgan that I won't ruin.
Anyway, so my point is,
this one's not done.
oh, this one's not done.
This one's not done.
No, just the end is that he was right. You cut with the voiceover and also the actor, when they're recording it, even though they've just wrapped, they are so in the space of the character.
Yeah.
They're not coming back 4 months later and being like, "Oh, let me do this."
Trains arrive on time.
Right. There's and also it's funny, you do it. Traditionally, you would do it as the last thing. "Oh, Morgan's wrapped, but before you go, we just got to get to..." They're emotional. They've just delivered this art, and the last thing they're going to do is this special little voiceover, and so it has this extra magic to it.
Yeah.
So he was right. I didn't even record the second one because I didn't want to touch it. It was perfect.
Why?
So yeah, part of the job of directing Morgan is to convince him that there's going to be more than just one take.
Wasn't Jack Nicholson in that as well?
In what?
I'm wrong.
In
Going
what?
in Style, I thought that was...
No, it was Michael Caine, Alan Arkin, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
It was a big movie. It was my only studio film I've directed, and it was an enormous circus of people.
Oh, I thought you were going to say failure or something.
No. The movie made, I think, $80 million or something. It wasn't a failure. I
didn't think it was. I was worried for you that you were going to be like, it was a huge monumental circus. I was like, oh, thank God. I was happy for you. I was happy for you.
I'm going to have some weird water.
Why are you doing this, Dave? I'm trying to do Alan Arkin.
Oh my God, Glengarry Glen Ross. You had me.
I could use some coffee.
People come, they take the phones.
What kind of operation? They come and they take the phones.
You know that this is a humble brag.
Nothing comes out of your mouth but bile.
Can I tell you a humble brag?
How fucked up you are.
I just watched this movie with Al Pacino.
Which one?
Glengarry.
You watched Glengarry with Al Pacino?
With Al Pacino.
Was he like, "I like this. Who is this?"
I sat next to him. And watched the movie.
What do you mean?
I'm going to invite you to a super secret club.
Of people who've watched that movie with Al Pacino?
No, of Al Pacino. If you're in this super secret club, every once in a while gets motivated and screens one of his films and then does a little Q&A after.
I'll now take your questions.
And yeah, exactly.
Stupid fucking cunt was not a riff.
By the way, Glengarry's one of my favorite movies.
It's one of my favorite movies.
And I was invited. I know Al just as an acquaintance a little bit.
I know that boy, Zach Braff.
Yeah. And I know him a little bit, just acquaintancy. But I was invited, and I've been to a couple of these. I saw Godfather 1 with him. And
what?
Yeah. Swear to God. I didn't sit next to him, and but we're talking about like 30
He's in the room, though.
Dude, we're talking about 30 people in a screening room.
I got to take a piss. Can we pause?
And we
would anyone mind if I pause real fast?
That's a pretty good album. Your Pacino's better than your Freeman.
My Pacino is second to none.
He, anyway, with Glengarry, we also watched Cruising.
Give me the Glengarry.
Well, Glengarry, the only story I really have is that I sat next to him, which was unique.
You were next to him?
literally movie theater seat next to him.
All train compartments
And he's
smell
got the
vaguely of shit.
He's got the best humorous lines in the movie. So every time I laughed, and I wasn't playing it up because I was next to him, I loved the movie. I was genuinely laughing. I could catch. This is just so amazing and says so much about us actors that even if you're Al Pacino and you're still looking in your periphery to enjoy the person that's laughing at your work. Isn't that incredible?
I don't care. The god Vishnu too, on top of it.
Yeah.
Sign the deal.
You want to know the first, you never
open your mouth until you know what the shot is.
You fucking child.
You fucking child. This is a
You
kind of
never open your mouth until you know what the shot is. You fucking child.
Guy couldn't find his dick with 2 hands on the map.
When I first got out of college, one of my audition monologues would be Shelley the Machine Levine
Shelley the Machine.
telling
Rick.
You should do a one-man Glenn Gary. You can do all the impressions.
You got the memory of a fucking fly. I can't do Ed Harris.
But you can do a pretty decent Lemon.
Rick. 2306.
22 minutes by the
please.
kitchen clock. Not a word, not a motion. Is my arm getting tired? No, I did it.
And he's going
like in the old days, like I used to do, like you taught me. Wow. And he goes, wow. And then Pacino goes, wow, if I did.
If I did.
No, sorry.
Great sales, Sally.
No, sorry. I fucked up the characters. He goes, I think Pacino goes to Lemon, like you taught me. And he goes, no, well, if I
that's
did.
right. Shelley goes, no, well, if I
did.
Yeah.
Dude, why are we not best friends?
I don't know. I would.
We have the exact same interests.
I know. And there's a weird Jersey Boston thing happening. Like sensitive boys from kind of roughneck places. Is roughneck offensive?
Yes.
I just mean tough places.
Yeah, I went to a tough high school. People would beat the shit out of each other after school.
Just for kicks.
They would get in a fight. You would just hope that you were never on the list of someone who was going to be beat up.
Who books that?
I don't know. But
Someone's watching.
did you have fights at your school?
Not too many.
My nightmare was like that it would ever happen that it'd be like, it'd spread through the school. You see here who's fighting? Who's fighting?
Yeah.
It's going to be Zach.
There were scheduled fights, which I never understood.
Yeah, after school.
It was like this kid and this kid are going to fight.
Everyone
and I would
would
always
know.
try to stop it. I'd be like, why don't you just not go or like apologize?
No,
What is the issue?
You would have to show up.
You got to show. I'm also here to say you don't have to show.
Do you think your listeners would mind if we just keep reciting Glengarry to each other?
I'm trying to think of other lines. Well, the first line of the movie is 2306, please. It's his daughter's hotel room, hospital room.
I love that monologue that
Which
Shelley
one?
the Machine has about recounting proudly his sale.
Rebate.
No, at the end of the movie, when he's about to.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember how it goes.
But he talks about how he sits with the couple and he says, now.
Harriet and blah, blah, Nyborg.
How is the time?
Now is the time. Hold on my hand.
22 minutes by the kitchen clock. He's hold his hand there for 22 minutes. For 22 minutes, he holds his hand there.
Yeah.
22 minutes by the kitchen clock, not a word, not a motion. Is my arm getting tired? No. I point back to the living room to a sideboard.
I didn't even know she had a
fucking
sideboard. I didn't even know what a sideboard is. She brings out the shot glass with the little, with the pattern around it. And he goes,
No, doesn't he say like fucking Nyborg or something like that?
Yeah.
I forgot it. I didn't even know there was a sideboard in there.
Yeah.
I point to the living room, to the sideboard.
Bring
I
out
didn't
the
know
little
there was a
shot
sideboard in
glasses
there.
with the
little
pattern.
thing.
Oh, there's a part where he goes, she brings out coffee cake. And he goes,
fuck her.
He goes, homemade? And he goes, from the store. He goes, fuck her. Fuck her.
I say, now is the time. They signed Ricky like in the old days.
And this is when
he goes, I did it. Like in the old days, like I was taught. Then he says, like you taught me. Well, if I did.
Yeah. And then it finally, and it goes, get the chalk. Williamson. And he comes out. And it's just like a play. The tone changes.
What about this guy?
Like the spell has been broken.
Scandal acknowledged.
I'm trying to run an office here. Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?
Pretty good, right?
An ironic high five. When he puts the gum in.
Scandal acknowledged.
We're talking about Kevin Spacey for people who don't know. But he puts in the gum.
I imagine this podcast got very boring for people that don't know Glengarry Glen
I don't
Ross.
care. No, I was doing Kevin Spacey saying I don't care. Well,
what time is it? Oh, you have
Oh,
pillows.
shit.
Oh, shit. I got to go.
Yeah, we all have to go.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let me just send this text.
Oh, shit.
Buddy.
Wait, you're going to cut this out? Is there a brief cut out one moment?
No, I like these moments. This is when they order breakfast on Comedians in Cars. It's always the best part. How does Zach text? He's a double thumb guy. He holds it, both hands. Looks very sharp line.
Like that? All right, listen.
I really do think you'll like the shampoo. Your hair looks fantastic.
Thank you. You recommended a cafe
you
where I'm
wash your
going to
hair?
meet a friend, and no, don't wash your hair. That's the problem.
That's the shampoo for guys that don't wash their hair. I'm telling you.
This is going to fuck up my hair because
It's not
it's
going to
shampoo.
fuck up your hair. It's non-shampoo shampoo. This isn't even an ad. They're not even paying for this shit. This is a gift for you. If your secret is don't wash your hair, this is how you wash your hair.
Can I ask you something? Is this a sponsor of your show?
It is, but it's because I love them.
Okay, I'll try it.
You're gonna love
I've
it.
tried everything else.
You're
I
gonna love
don't
it.
know that calmed me down. I think your kindness.
Kind of jazzes
I think
you
it
up.
might be psychosomatic. I think that your kindness.
Psychosomatic.
I think that your kindness
You're
and
gonna
overall
marshal
energy.
my sales force.
I just want to come over here once a week and just sit here. We don't need the mics and just quote Glengarry with each other.
Can we watch it? Can we make a date to watch it?
Want to watch it with Al? I'll try and get Al. No, but in all seriousness, you can join the Super Secret Club. I'll get you in. You've missed Godfather, Godfather 2, Cruising, and
Can we
Glengarry.
do Son of a Woman?
We should do Son of a Woman. Hoo-ha!
Hooah! The History of My Skin by Charles Sims.
I auditioned for that part.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you get it?
Not for Al's part, for Chris.
Chris. What's his name? Robin.
Robin. His name is not Chris Robin.
He became Robin, though.
Christopher Robin.
Chris O'Donnell.
Nice pull.
There was a time when Chris O'Donnell was going to be Matt Damon, but then Matt Damon became Matt Damon.
Chris O'Donnell
Do you remember?
got the part, and when I saw what he did, he was wonderful in the movie. I said, "Oh, my audition wasn't that good."
Well, I had some Clearasil my roommate gave me. That's when he says The History of My Skin by Charles Sims. I had a Tumblr called The History of My Skin by Charles Sims.
Do you think that movie holds up?
That movie means a lot to me.
I love that movie, but I haven't seen it in over a decade.
That movie was my first father figure, and my dad used to take me to New York, and it made a big difference in my life. Because New York's so scary, and he took me into the city and parked a Winnebago in Staten Island, and was like, who cares? I was just pure confidence. He really taught me a lot. And then I saw that movie. I wrote my dad a 2-page single-spaced letter on an Apple II GS, just thanking my dad for teaching me how to be confident after I watched that movie.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? That's what movies can do.
Can I tell you my conundrum?
Yeah.
I asked you if there was a cafe where I could meet a friend over in this area of town.
I told you all time.
Yeah, and we're running late, which is great because I could talk to you all day. But I said, okay, all time. Pete suggests all time.
Yeah.
The person just texted me saying, hey,
there's a line
waiting out front. They're closed because it's between lunch and dinner.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take you to another place. I'm also meeting a friend out front. We'll walk somewhere.
But there's a human being that's standing on a curb because of you.
Fuck her.
All right, thank you.
From the store.
I love being on your show, and I love hanging out with you.
I love
can we
you
be,
being on the show.
Can we be friends in real life?
Yeah.
I really only do this to come hang out with you.
What do you think? We care about promoting a movie or my special?
Please do check out A Good Person.
We do. I just mean you're an always on.
All right.
Would you say it?
That's what I have to say?
Yeah.
How do I say it?
Well, you were the voice in Chicken Run?
Yeah.
Would
Chicken
you do
Little,
it as...
not Chicken Run.
Oh, sorry.
I have to summon Chicken Little. Hold on. The sky is falling. Keep it crispy.
One guy just came so hard. I'm just Chicken Little's back!
You made it